Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the JESS MARSHALL Podcast. This week, I have the privilege of having on Chief Elijah Maine, ex-Navy. Going to have an awesome podcast talking about his time in the service, about what it means to be a man in 2023, about teamwork, entrepreneurship, and running a business with your wife. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the JESS MARSHALL Podcast. Wow. Mark that swipe. Bring it. Elijah Maine. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Met you first at Christmas time at some crazy gift exchange Christmas party. Everybody's wearing, I was wearing a women's Christmas sweater from the Walmart women's section, 5XL.
What was I wearing?
You were wearing like a full
my Christmas suit
with Christmas shorts.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
you and me were the only dudes with shorts on.
It was short. It's like a shorts tux.
Yeah, it was
shorts with a short sleeve. Yeah, with flip flops. You know, that's I bought that like 4 years ago, and I wear it every Christmas. Yeah,
it's hilarious. Yeah. I did keep that women's cardigan hooded because I was like, I'm never going to find anything better than this. So it's hung up at the back of the closet with like my 6 other actual pieces. I've gotten rid of everything. You can ask Sohail. I bring him a garbage bag of giveaway.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with having no stuff.
Really?
Obsessed with it.
Well, you should come to my garage and start clearing some shit out.
Okay. I know a lot of people who can use a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a secret weapon to not want anything.
Yeah. Well, when you don't desire anything, then there's nothing to be held over you.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that's going to tease you if you don't want anything.
Well, and in a world where all it is look at this billboard, look at this Instagram story, it's kind of like, what the
you need this.
Look at this shit. Yeah. I don't need that. I'm gonna fix this that I bought 10 years ago.
Well, I was suckered into a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. So are we getting into this yet?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah, we're going.
So man, I grew up poor as shit. Like, I grew up in New York, upstate New York.
There's the accent.
In a trailer park. I didn't even have a bed the first 18 years of my life.
No shit.
Yeah, so I grew up. So it was me, my dad, and my brother. We all lived in a trailer together. My mom walked out of me when I was like 4 years old.
No bed, so we're floor.
My
air
brother.
mattress?
Well, I had a bed. Me and my brother shared a bedroom, and then the ceiling caved in over my bed, so I didn't have. It would just leak.
We need to get you a good reputable roof. It sounds like. Yeah.
So I started sleeping on the couch. And then ever since, I slept on the couch, And I feel go back to this day, my dad still lives in the same trailer, and the roof is still fucked up.
No shit.
Yeah. So anyway, so I grew up with nothing. Like, I don't need Christmas presents. I don't need birthday presents. I don't care. If my birthday sounds good, let's go out to dinner. Like, I don't like gifts. I don't care about all that stuff. But when I finally started making some decent money, I'm like, I can buy what I want. I'm fucking buying everything. So like everyone's like, oh, I see a sports car drive by, I'm buying that sports car. I see a Jeep drive by because I'm here in Texas and everybody drives Jeeps, I'm buying that Jeep. And then I had it, I bought it all, and then I was like, this is fun for like 6 months. And then I just sold it all because I was like, I don't need it anymore. Yeah.
It's
materialistic. You don't need it.
Well, and it's also, I would love to say that I'm some sort of enlightened human. Maybe I'm just lazy because it's that maintenance. I'm just like, I've had the jacked up dually with the $10,000 rims and that you can't even take it through the bank drive-through.
You can't park in any parking garage.
After a while, you're just like, I'm just going to get an old man truck. It runs. It looks fine. It's a neutral color, so I never even really have to wash it.
Yeah.
And it always looks reasonably professional. And I'm good. I'm fine. Yeah. Just leave me alone.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be amazing. So I bought a McLaren 3 years ago. And I was like, oh, this is my fantasy car. Right? I would never even dreamt of. I think I had a poster when I was like 10 growing up with McLaren on my wall. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get one. So I got a McLaren. I mean, it's cool for like 30 minutes. And then it's like date night, but then my wife hated it. So I bought it for date night to go out. Too
loud or what?
No, getting in and out of it is like this high off the ground, and the bucket seats are sitting like that. I'm loving it because I'm a car guy. I'm like on a racetrack. And she hated the car getting in and out, hated it with a passion. You can't go anywhere with speed bumps at all. You can't go in any parking garage. You can't. There's so many limitations when you have a car like that. to do everyday things. You can't go to Walmart because it's not really a trunk. You can't do really anything. You could just drive from A to B and then
Can you even go through a drive-through, or you got to reach all the way up for your Big Mac?
I wouldn't trust going through a drive-through because some of them turns are so sharp now. With a truck, you just hit the curb and go over, but with that thing, no.
What, that rig is so wide when you go around those, you think you'd shear off like the back quarter panel or something?
All I'm saying is I sold it, I think I sold it a year and a half ago.
Did you make money on it when you sold it?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of weird on that.
I won't go into cost, but yeah, like when COVID hit, like costs of supercars have gone up. So I was like, hey, I made 40 grand off of it just from. I was like, this is great.
And that wasn't even
I didn't drive
planned.
I didn't drive it for 4 months. It just sat in my garage. Well, because my wife was pregnant the last 3 months of her pregnancy. She's not going to get in and out of this thing, and I don't want to drive it alone. That's weird. So, so she didn't get in it. And then after my son was born, I'm not going to drive with me, my wife, and an infant in a two-seater. So it literally sat there in my garage for like 4 months. And I was like, what is this thing doing just sitting here? I was like, I might as well just sell it.
Costing you big-time insurance premiums.
Oh, do you know the maintenance is on them? Oh, bro. It's like $5,000 a year just to be McLaren certified. I want to go get my brakes fixed. They said it's 35 grand. I said, bro, this has got to go. No,
I am not a car guy, but they do fascinate me.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's I don't know, man. Yeah. Again, I've never been a car guy. I guess just because I've always been kind of bigger, so I can't get like that elbow room comfort, And I don't know. You're pretty jacked, and I don't know. I just never really. I've never owned a car ever. I've always owned. Yeah. But it's just one of those things, man. Yeah, it's weird what the market did for those upper end, like the watches, luxury cars, luxury SUVs,
houses.
Yeah,
how the housing market went nuts.
Yeah. Did you take advantage of that in that summer and fall of 21? I got so lucky on one that I was flipping, that was ready to go.
You flip houses?
COVID did.
Nice.
COVID hit. Then, it's ready a month or two later. No one is coming to look at a $1.5 million. No one. So I had to move into it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Live there for a year. Get back on, dial the realtor back up. I'm like, I think it looks. He's like, yeah, I think we should try.
Yeah.
And 21, had an open house, 40 minutes.
Nice.
Way over, all cash. And I'm just like...
Saw them Californians coming here.
Yeah. Maybe the universe will at least give me a wink every once in a while if it's not going to smile at me.
Yeah. We were going to take advantage. We were. So when we first moved here to Texas, there's this house.
How long have you been here for?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah. So we moved here in December 2019. So at the very end of the year.
Man, perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Whew.
So we got here. We custom built our house over in Lucas. I lived in Virginia. I was stationed in Virginia with a SEAL teammate over there. Prior to moving here. So when I was there, I was going to get stationed here as a recruiter here in Dallas. So we built our house. So for the last 8 months of my tour over in Virginia, I was flying here every month with my wife to watch the house be built.
To cuss out your contract.
Pretty much. Oh, dude, oh, man. He would send me updates on the phone, and he'd show me the front elevation of the house. It looks beautiful, and it was all brick. And I'm like, bro, there's supposed to be stone on the front. He's just like, no. I'm like, yeah, there is. He's like, but my guys are going to have to rip it down. I was like, yeah, it sucks, but rip it down. Anyway.
Can you read the plans?
But so there was a lot of messed up stuff. So, but we would fly back every single month to come look at the house. But we were driving down the road, country club, and there's this house. It's called Castle in the Woods. I don't know if have you heard of it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've roofed houses back in that neighborhood.
It's beautiful, but it's 13,000 square feet. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
But we drove by that and we saw it, and I was like, this is wow, that is amazing house. I was like, if that ever becomes for sale, we're going to buy it. And my wife's like, let's go. I think it's amazing. I was like, all right, sounds good. Fast forward 2 years, 2021 now, it becomes for sale. I'm like, I want to buy that house. So we looked at it. I'm not going to tell you what the price was, but it's a good chunk. Then we called our realtor. I was like, hey, how much could we get for our house? And she's like, I have a buyer for you right now. It's not even listed yet. And I was like, really? So across from me, there's 18 acres that somebody bought in cash. It was 3.2 million. Somebody bought the 18 acres that they want to build their dream home on. However, they wanted to buy my house because it's right next to it as an interim home to watch their house be built because it's going to take 3 years to build their house.
I like their style.
And I'm like, first off, what the fuck do you do? Like, I want to be friends with you. They did a cash offer on our house and said, so they bought this in cash. They want to buy my house in cash for 1.94. I only built it for like 1.2. So I was like, this is going to be great. About to do the whole deal. We're like, while we sell this house, we'll live in a smaller house. We bought a house over in Plano, smaller house, $400,000. And so we bought that, signed it, ready to rock and roll. We're about to move into it. And then we're like, oh, do we really want that huge 13,000 square foot castle? I really don't want that. So we decided not to buy the castle because it's ridiculous. It was a fantasy. And then we told them we're not going to sell the house, but we already have this house over here. So same concept. We forced to Airbnb it now. Now it's an Airbnb. But yeah, so we're going to take advantage because it's going to be cool, but we didn't.
What changed your mind? You just
it's
just the pain in the ass factor?
It's a lot. Like, that's a big house.
Man, you probably have to keep a gardener on staff.
That's a big house. I mean, we also got kids, like, they'd be terrified, and if you look at it, it looks like a haunted castle. Like, really? 13,000? No.
Does it echo like a son of a bitch
and there's an elevator in it. I don't need all that. Like,
gosh,
my house now is perfect. It's beautiful, but like, I'm like, that was just really cool at the time, saying I could get kind of like the whole, sports car thing. It's like, it's cool. It would have been cool for like 30 minutes.
Where was this house located?
It's up off of, it's called Circle in the Woods is the road off of Country Club.
And they have a name for the house, too.
Castle in the Woods.
They call it Castle in the Woods. Yeah, if you search that, it'll pull it up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If you've done it, and then you can say, it's not everything I thought it would be. Oh, of course, paywall.
No, that's it. That's the house.
Dallas Morning News.
So yeah, we even
$4.
we drove this dude up, and he met us there. He's a contractor, and I said, hey, because the whole inside needs to be redone.
Yeah, I bet.
Remodeled because it's older. And I was like, what would it cost to get this? Because the living room itself, just the living room is like 3,000 square feet.
Good night.
If you see some pictures of the inside, I don't know if it'll be on there, but there you go, right there. Go down.
Down
right
2 rows.
There.
Oh yeah,
that's the living room.
That.
That's the living room. So the idea was
look at that
is to buy
ceiling.
it, and I would paint it all white.
Okay.
And I'd rent it out to
for
weddings and anything.
Yeah.
Business, venues, whatever it is.
Monetize the house.
Yep. Yeah. 3,000 square feet. And there's a bar on the left.
It's crazy.
So yeah, beautiful house. Absolutely beautiful.
What's the origin story on that? Some builder built it like as a spec or something?
No. Yes. So some guy, whoever owned it, they own some giraffe farm down south, like in Austin.
Really?
South, yeah. But some safari. But anyway, so they stayed in a hotel over in Germany or Berlin somewhere. And then the hotel they stayed in was just like that. So he's like, I want this there. So he came back to the United States, and then he's like, took that same hotel and made a house out of it. It looks, if you look from the aerial view, it looks the same as a hotel in like Berlin or somewhere.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so it's like an actual castle just rebuilt here.
So what'd you do? You had to refund your buyer their earnest money on your house?
We didn't even get that far.
Didn't get that far.
No.
What did you figure out what they did? They in the fentanyl
No,
business
not
or something?
yet. Not yet. We see them now, like they're out there still building their house. The owners are always out there with their longhorns and stuff. So I'm glad they moved there. But no, I have no idea what they do. They're they're pushing like late 70s. I'm like,
yeah,
it's not a guy I can just go hang out with. So.
Yeah, and it's probably something real boring.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, probably.
Like
or they
Eastern
sold
European fertilizer,
or sold some multiple businesses.
Yeah,
and they're just hanging out,
or they're just sitting on that old school oil money.
Maybe.
I mean, there's a lot of those knuckleheads running around in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, why did you end up wanting to move here?
So here, I got orders here.
Really?
Yeah. So in the military, like you call this guy called the detailer, and the detailer will tell you these are your options where you can be stationed, your next duty station. Whatever's on the list, that's the only you get to choose from. Sometimes there's one place, and that's you're fucked. You just got to go to that one place. It can be Rhode Island or some shit. But on the list was a bunch of shit I didn't want, and I was like
where?
I think one was Mississippi, Gulfport. I was there for a few years already. Passed.
Yeah.
Port Hueneme, California. No, thank you. Mayport, Florida. No, thank you.
Not a Florida guy?
No, well, not where the base is. So because it'd be going to that duty station, and I said, hey man. So I called my detailer and I said, hey, how can you get me to Texas? Because me and my wife have been to Texas multiple times, and we've been to Virginia, Texas. We've traveled all over. I've been to so many places. And every time we come to Texas, just the people are fucking so nice.
Oh yeah.
And my 18-year-old, my son hates it because when we first got here, I'd be like, we'd leave like Chick-fil-A or leave Walmart, and they'd be like, "Have a good day, sir." I'm like, these people are so. You go to Virginia, people don't talk like that.
New
They're
York,
rude.
same deal.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like. So every time we leave, so he's like, "Dad, I get it. We know everyone's nice here." I'm like, "So let's move." So we decided we want to move to Texas. So I
Why
told
do
my,
18-year-olds always have to be so? They always have to be suffering in some way.
they're such a hard life.
Has being the father of an 18-year-old tested your patience more than maybe anything else in your life?
A little bit, yeah, little bit.
Just
little bit. I grew up different. Like I grew up where spanking your child is completely normal. Nowadays it's frowned upon, but I turned out fine. So, but yeah. So my oldest, he's one of those that likes to test limits, test boundaries, but also like he's smart as shit though. Like my oldest, his name's Dominic. He taught himself how to play the keyboard or play the piano off of YouTube on a keyboard, like a letter keyboard, like a computer keyboard. He knows how to play, I don't know how many songs. He plays for his high school.
Wow.
Dude, he's stupid smart. He doesn't
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Neither did I. So like he said, "Dad," I was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" He's like, "I want to get a keyboard." I was like, "Son, first off, those things cost like $1,000 and you've never played one, never asked for one. Are you sure you want this keyboard?" And he's just like, "Yes." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "I saw this YouTube." I was like, "Stop right there. Next time you give me a fact, don't bring up YouTube or TikTok, okay? You need to come at me with real reasons, right?" I was like, "Listen, if you learn how to play this song," I think it was like Fair Elise or something, whatever the song was, on that keyboard, I'll get you a keyboard.
Because you thought it was
I thought it was
unattainable?
like unattainable. He goes, "Okay." 2 days later,
I've never seen.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if you can find that on YouTube. Playing a piano song on a computer keyboard.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
2 days later?
That's how you.
Absolutely. Yep. 2 days later, he said, "Dad, come here," and he goes, I was like, "Get the fuck out of here." I was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "God damn it." So anyways, that's good. I'm glad he did. But he's like one of those, he's just stupid smart like that. He does a Rubik's Cube in like 9 seconds. It's
Wow.
ridiculous. I'm like, I can't even, you can teach me how to do it and I still couldn't do it.
So he's getting that all from from his mom's side? Or?
Probably not. But probably not. But yeah. But yeah,
if we're speaking honestly,
yeah,
probably not.
He's tested from some patients for sure. Yeah.
How old were you when you had him?
21.
Pump up the volume on that.
It's
a
impressive.
keyboard
Man.
for you, so then you can play a chord.
So that's the letter J. Or yeah.
And you can input that into Logic. So you have the virtual keyboard. Hope that was
So
useful.
like in Meta, they're not even gonna have pianos. It's just
Probably not.
just
I don't know. That Metaverse is.
you go to a jazz club or whatever, and they're just gonna be playing everything with a computer. There's gonna be no instruments left.
Probably not. Yeah.
I mean, I've composed for short films just using that.
Get the
If you're
fuck
on
out.
plane
I'm
or
tired.
something.
I'm tired of hearing about all the cool stuff you do, man.
It's not that cool.
What do you do? He knits shit.
You knit?
Crochet.
Oh, my bad.
What's the
Wrong
difference?
needle point. What is the difference between knitting and crocheting?
Crochet is just one hook, and it's just one piece of thread. The knitting, you like have 2 needles, and knitting takes way longer.
So so crochet is just like sewing.
No, it's
that one hook. It's the one hook, like the little pole with one hook on it. See, I'm familiar because my grandma and my mom.
My work with my.
Is this how you learned to crochet, bro?
for sure YouTube.
Dude, YouTube, man. YouTube where it's
So now
at.
we're going to learn how to do a single crochet.
My son, he did the
We're gonna
Rubik's Cube,
insert our
all that
hook.
through YouTube.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yep.
The lessons on how to play chess on YouTube
I love
are
chess.
next level.
Yeah, I love chess.
They're awesome. So when you're 4 years old, your mom takes off? Just she was sick of it or what?
So, man, that's a crazy story. But so my dad was in construction growing up. I have me, my brother, my sister, and then my dad and my mom, right? Dad lost his job in construction. We had to move to this trailer over in, we had a nice house. We moved to this trailer out in Wyoming, New York. And she got into alcohol, started drinking. I don't know what else from there because I was too young. Woke up one day and my mom was on the couch with another dude. My dad was in the bedroom. And I was like, me and my brother and sister just standing there looking at him. And then we're like, "Dad, what's happening?" And then ever since, I didn't see her. She pops up here and there. She came to the house. She came back to visit my dad like 15 years later after I joined the military. I didn't see her from when I was young until after I joined the military. That's a long. No, not really.
'Cause
I
you
don't
were
think. I mean,
forward?
I don't know. Maybe it did, but I just don't even
That's
know.
why you got to sit. That's why you got to sit with some ayahuasca, man. Maybe it did. That stuff will help you.
Maybe it did. Yeah.
I don't know.
So I mean, I don't think so. You know. But yeah, so like, so I grew up without like a mom in the house, right? So then it was just me, my dad, and my sister and my brother. And then sister became certain age, and she's like, I need a mother figure. I can't. My dad's a man. He doesn't know how to handle when they're 13 on, right? Yeah. So she went to go live with my dad's brother, which is my uncle, and lived with their family because, you know, they're the happy nuclear family, right? So then it's just me, my dad, and my brother. And from that, ever since I was like 9 on. You know.
You think that hardened you up pretty good?
Living with men.
Just
yeah.
all dude.
Yeah,
just
my dad's
like,
like
bunking down.
My dad's a hardcore just... I mean, I learned a lot from him, especially work ethic. Like, you know, my dad's work ethic is unreal. But also he's a no shits. Like, he doesn't beat around the bush. He's just like, he's hard. My dad's a hard dude. He was hard on us and hard on my brother. And so that's why I think, you know, that's how I became.
Was he a military man?
No.
Was the military something that attracted you when you were young?
Not really. I mean, so I grew up in upstate New York. It's called Churchville, Chili, right?
And my dad's from Wappingers.
Yeah,
Wappingers Falls.
So like, I realized I don't even know how I had this epiphany. All of my friends were even just like, dude, I knew you were meant to do something bigger than sit around here. But like, I'd look around my friends' parents, their parents, whatever. I never saw a single person's life I wanted. So I'm like, so if I stick around here, this is as good as it's going to get. So I got to get out of here. But I didn't know what to do. I was poor. I had nowhere to go. So I was like, what do I even do? So I joined the military. So I walked in the recruiter's office and talked to an Army guy. And I was like, dude, I don't want to go in a hole. He's just like, Army's not for you. I said, all right, went to the Marines. I'm like, Marines going to be badass. I was like, dude, I don't want to go in a hole. He's like, Marine Corps is not for you.
Claustrophobia or what?
No, like a foxhole. I didn't want to just sit in the ground and wait for people to shoot at me, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to the Navy. I didn't want to look at the Air Force because it's more like for women. If I redid it now, I'd probably join the Air Force.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, so I went to the Navy and I was like, I don't want to go in the hole. He's like, sounds good. You're not going to go in a hole. I said, sweet. I don't want to go on a ship either. He's like, man, the Navy's not for you. And I was like, man. So I'm leaving the recruiter's office, and the recruiter runs out of the Navy office, and he's like, come here, I got a job for you. I'm like, what is this? He goes, they're called Seabees, the construction battalion, the construction force of the Navy. He's like, you don't go on ships, you don't go in a hole. I was like, bro, this is game. Let's do it. So I joined the military, joined the Navy, right? As a CB at 18, yep. So I joined the military, and 7 months later, I'm in a hole in Iraq.
Son of a bitch.
I was like, you lie, man. Anyway, but yeah, so they suckered me in. So, so in 2003 was my first deployment. Yeah.
What was it? Was it like a foreign experience to you, like going through basic training and stuff, or had you already you knew about what it took to work hard, and you knew what it took to get kind of your ass kicked?
Well, I knew work ethic, and I knew getting my ass kicked, and I knew like my dad was hard, so I know like, you know, respect your elders and your whoever's in charge, your power with position of authority. So position of authority, I'm like, I'm not going to backtalk you. I mean, I'm going to do what you tell me to do, and because I'm trying to get where you are. So I'm a lead. I mean, I'm follow your lead, right? So boot camp was fine. I mean, it's just physical, nothing crazy. It's not even that hard anymore. Now it's boot camp's a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then after boot camp, graduation was cool. Then ever since though, every time my dad sees me in uniform, tears flowing.
Really?
Oh, every time.
Just super
every
proud?
Single time. Oh yeah, every single time. I feel bad sometimes because my brother's there, and he's like, "I'm so proud of you." My brother's like, he never says that shit to me. Oh. And I was like, "Hey man, sorry, dude." Yeah.
Yeah, you always get that sibling, right? What's your brother do?
He does like property management for like apartment complexes and condos and stuff like that.
Good job.
Down in Florida.
Yeah. Productive,
yeah.
beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah, making the world a better place. But
Yep.
yeah, that military thing.
So it's different. It
is. Was authority something you had a problem with growing up, like outside of your dad, or your
I'm
dad?
the youngest, so I've always had people that were my brother's my older brother. Every time we went out somewhere, listen to your brother. So no, authority is never some position of authority. I'll respect whoever's above me. It's fine.
When were you a big sports guy in high school?
Oh yeah. So I boxed a little bit, football, basketball. I played soccer up until like 8th grade, but mainly basketball and football. Yeah.
So the whole team ethic,
Yep.
pulling together,
Absolutely.
common goal was all already kind of woven into the fabric of who you were as a young man.
Yeah, I think that's what's important. Like when it comes to the team sports for like, throughout high school for kids now, is they absolutely need to do team sports, not to be a professional basketball player, a professional football player. It's the team camaraderie, it's the coaching, it's the practices, it's the buckling down and you're suffering with somebody next to you, like suffer with them. That's what you learn in team sports. It's not I want to be a pro soccer player or pro football player. It's
and it's a real palatable version of then what you ended up having to do, which is go actually putting your life on the line. I mean, there's some danger to some more violent team sports, nothing like what you did, but it's a socially acceptable way, especially for young men, to learn about the value of respecting authority, being coachable. And if winning is the goal,
being coachable is a trait that not a lot of people have.
No,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
I tell everyone who wants to work for me, when I go to interview them, I'm the last one to interview them. They have to make it through 3 other interviews first, because I used to hire everyone and be like, I see potential. I'll coach them up. And that just absolutely exploded in my face with shrapnel and blinded me. And I was like, fuck this. We're doing it a different way. Coachability, dependability, availability. Best abilities. I don't give a fuck how talented you are. There's so many talented people in the world who are wasting away on their couch with a bottle in their hand, or they're just totally direction. Totally not.
Because they know what to do.
Right.
I know. You don't tell me I know. Yeah, that's how they are.
I think I know might be one of my least favorite responses ever in the world.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Even if you do know, just reply with,
Thank you.
I appreciate it, thanks.
Totally.
That's it.
This is not
and
hard.
in your mind, you can be like, I already knew that. But like, other than it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Is it that important for you to let the person know that told you that you already knew that?
I think it's a habit for some. Like it's like When I was growing up, my dad never let us say yeah. Yep, no. It was yes sir, yes ma'am, no. None of this bullshit. No sure. Hey, let's go do this. Sure, no. No, active words like get involved, get engaged, be act like you're going somewhere, not like you're just along for the ride.
My kids will use all the time until they know I'm serious. Then they'll reply with yes, sir. And that's when I know that they understand how serious it is. Like when their reply is yes, sir, then I'm like, okay, they understand that this is something serious. Usually, do you want to go to the store? Yes. Yeah. Instead of yes, sir. But if they didn't pick up the room, I'm gonna clean your room. Why didn't you clean your room? They're like, yes, sir. Because they know what.
Sure.
It's their response is when I know what they get it or not.
I just said sure. I didn't even realize it. I hate sure.
I've been saying yeah this whole time. You're like, I don't like yeah. I'm like,
I think I know grates on me more than anything, because I'm just like, man, that is so. It's just not. I don't know.
Not humble. When you say, I know.
That affability of like, yeah, man, we're. I get you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is that when you were young, were you thinking in your mind, like, okay, military, this is a step in the right direction? Or you're 18, you're like, I want to see the world?
I had no idea.
I just want to get the F out of here.
That's pretty much what it was. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was doing landscaping with my cousin. I was doing odds and end jobs with my dad doing construction. I had no idea what I was going to do.
Was college ever a consideration?
Not even an option. One, I couldn't afford it ever. Unless I got like a full ride scholarship. No. It wasn't even in the cards. So I was like, I'm either going to work my ass off for the rest of my life or join the military, and I ended up working my ass off anyway. But regardless, like, it's a guaranteed paycheck, so it's like, it was great to do at the time. It's what felt right at the moment. Yeah.
Did the military enter your stream of consciousness as like an option because of something you saw on TV or a movie?
Think it was a recruiter came to school.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can do this, this, and this. And I was like, it's way better than the shit I'm about to do now. I was like, this is great. So, yeah.
It's almost like lesser of two evils type.
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe with more upside, and that recruiter made it sound more exciting.
I go back home. I've only visited home back to New York a handful, maybe 4 to 5 times in the past 20 years. Yeah. Go see my old friends. What's crazy is that the first time I went back, I went to go meet up all my old friends and stuff, and I was like, hey, I'm back in town, et cetera, et cetera. I just got back from 2 tours, and we go out to dinner or something like that, and they're like, how you been? How's everything going? I'm like, bro, you might pull up a chair. It's been a lot. Like, let me tell you. And I was like, well, what do you guys? Oh, same old, same old. I'm like, bro, I haven't talked to you in 4 years. Same old, same old. Like, I'm so glad I left this place. Like, really? That's all you got to say is same old, same old. I haven't seen you in 4 years. Let's chat about what I've done in the past 4 years. And they're just sitting there with a drink in their hand like, wow, what the fuck have I been doing? Because they're a manager at Eckerd or some weird drugstore. You know what I mean?
Something that's real dead end that probably is the reason why they look forward to their weekends so much.
100%. Yeah.
As you started to grow up and you're growing up in the military,
Yep.
Are you gaining confidence just as you're not a little brother anymore? You're starting to take some leadership and take some chances and walk a little taller just, as you start to figure things out a little bit, figure out how the system works?
I think that so it took me a long time to even step into like a leadership position when it comes to the military, because regardless of what rank you are, until you get to like a certain rank, you get treated like the bottom of the barrel regardless, right? But like there's like little teams you can quote unquote lead, but they're your peers. They're not going to always listen to you if you're the leader, right? But I think that the moment was when it was like, yeah, this is actually something pretty cool was when I came back home to visit one time, and my older brother, he's 2 years older than me, used to whoop my ass all the time. Every fucking day, he'd whoop my ass. I'm like, God, this sucks. Sit on my face, do the whole slap in, and while you open my eyes and do
Journey's torture.
loogies and crap,
Yeah.
But the day that he did that and he tried after I came back was not working. I manhandled him so easy, and he was like, at that moment, I was like, I'm not the little brother no more, man. Like, yeah.
Just
so
walked
that was
right
cool.
through him and he saw the light.
That was amazing. It was awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah.
When did working out and physicality and getting stronger become a priority? Like, this is something that I do because it makes me see. When you're young, though, it's just I want to win on the field, so I'm going to work out. And the girls like the stronger guys, so I'm going to work out. It's not until you kind of get a little older that you realize that all that working out kind of went hand in hand with why I've been able to start putting points up on the board in life.
Oh yeah, I mean, it helps with your mental state. It helps with your work ethic. It helps with your resiliency. Where if you learn to push through your workout because it hurts or whatever, if you can't breathe, you keep going. You can't do one more, so you keep going. That you can translate that to your life. There's always going to be something in your path that you can't do it for some reason. So it helps push you through it. When I first started working out, honestly, it's almost like I think out of boredom. I've always been physical with team sports, so I played basketball. I've always been fit. When it comes to like lifting weights, like on deployment, there's not much to do else outside of work besides go to the gym. If you're not going to the gym after work on deployment, then you're literally just sitting in your room doing nothing because there's nothing else to do. So for the first few deployments, my roommates were jacked, like just yoked. And I'm like, these guys are tiny. So if we ever like, you see military movies, people wrestle all the time. I get my ass whooped. I'm like, these guys are way stronger. This is ridiculous. So started working out.
Yeah.
Started working out, got decently good at it, got it pretty addictive, look better than you seriously,
everything works better.
Yeah, everything works better. You attract certain people, it's helps overall. But again, it's also your mental, like helps your mental a lot. Like you want to disappear for 2 hours, go to the gym.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have your phone, but nowadays the phone ruins everything. So
it does.
They don't disappear at all. They're still on their phone texting every day. So
when you work out now, do you leave the phone?
I bring it with me, but I don't because I own a few businesses, so I have to have my. If there's
always a fire to put out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boom. Yeah.
I'm always putting fires out, so you have to, But sometimes my people I'm working out with, my buddy Phil, I work out with him a lot, and he's like, dude, when you're here, you're still working. He's just like, sometimes just you gotta leave the office. I'm like, I can't.
That's an interesting thought in theory when you're not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
A lot of times people if you're a single guy and you're an entrepreneur and you go pair off with a young lady and she's never been around an entrepreneur before.
They don't understand the life.
No. And they think, it's probably not actually that big a deal. And what they can't bend their mind around, I've been through this experience numerous times, is here's the thing. If I don't take care of this right now, the problem that is going to create is going to become so big that it's going to take days to unravel. So I can either take 10 minutes now, or it's literally going to cost like 10K or 10 days or both down the line.
Time and money.
Yeah. That's a weird trade-off.
Yeah.
Then being able to discipline your mind, though, to be like, okay, that's not a fire. That is a fire. It's just like your mental life, right?
Yep.
That's not a thought I need right now. I don't know. Wrong time, wrong place. Just move on.
Yep.
I like to say mostly to myself, that if we would control absolutely everything we do have control of, we would be blown away by actually how powerful we are as people.
I call it controlling the controllables. If you stick to controlling what you can control, your life is going to be so much better. People worry about all the shit that they can't control. So there's no reason to worry about it if you have no say in it and you cannot control the outcome. No matter what you do, if you can't control it, then what are you focusing your time on it for if you don't control that? So that's why I control the controllables. If I can control it, I will. But if I can't, then I don't.
When did you how old were you when you realized that? Or is it something that you realize more and more every day?
Oh, I'm still learning it. There's still certain things I spend time on that I'm like, why am I? They'll eventually write off my book. Like you learn every single day. I'm continuously growing because I'm still new at this. I'm still new with the entrepreneur world, right? So my wife's my business partner. She runs a business with me. So when you talk about like being with somebody that doesn't know the business, like we built this together. So when I met her, I was broke, just divorced, broke. I was like, if you're with me for money, you're with the wrong dude. She's like, I don't care about any of that. So we built our brands together. So when I met her, same thing. She was a waitress, like, and she just joined the Air Force. So it's like, when we met, we were both as low as it can get. So then we built this together. So we know that working at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock in the morning is what it takes to grow a successful brand. And my deployment when my company is called Curves and Combat Boots, right? So we started this company, this legging company. And about 8 months later, I deployed. I was in Mogadishu, Africa, in Somalia. And I was working when I got off of work until I went to bed. But my wife was working when she woke up until she went to bed. So this business is literally being worked on 24 hours a day. It was phenomenal. And that just hyper scaled our brand because it was being worked on constantly on both ends. It was phenomenal. It was
so great. When you meet an Air Force waitress and you're newly divorced and 3 kids, I guess, at the time. No, 2, 3.
I had 3, yeah.
And you're about to have 6.
No, 5.
You're about to have your 5th.
4 and 1 on the way.
So what lit the spark, the entrepreneurial spark of let's try this, or we've wanted to try this, or did you both almost meet your completing half to where your skills complemented hers complemented yours, and then you just had these ideas together? Or how did that happen?
So this wasn't my first shot at being an entrepreneur. It wasn't. So I started this company called Maine Fitness. It was my personal training company back in 2008. Back when Body Space was like the social media. I don't know if you remember what that was, but
vaguely.
So like I started that and I was making good money. I was in my barracks room and I was an E5 in the military, in my barracks room in Sigonella, Sicily. I was stationed in Italy at the time. And I was doing my own personal training plans, making a couple grand a month. I'm like, this is great. I'm baller now. Quickly realized I could only take on so many clients. So I stopped that and started doing like group fitness videos called Superman Fit. I was a Superman fan back in the day.
No, cool.
No judgments.
How did you figure out that wasn't scalable, but that was?
P90X and Insanity and all that shit back in the day. Remember that?
Yeah.
If I can make a DVD or a video and I can just sell millions of these copies, this is great. So I started making my own videos. Quickly realized I'm not whoever the guy is, Sean T or whatever.
Sean T, yeah.
I'm not him, right? I can't do it. So
Billy Blanks.
Billy, that was before Sean T.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I thought that was the route to go. Not so much at all. And then so that business quickly failed. And then I was deployed to Uganda, Africa. And I was working out, doing some cool shit on the bar, like the calisthenic stuff, muscle ups, and all that kind of fun stuff. And I was in uniform doing it. So I would record myself and I put it on YouTube. I created this video and I called it Military Muscle Motivation. And then I got like 2 million views in like 4 days.
Legit.
It was phenomenal. And I was like, wow, people actually like this shit. So then I made another one, right? So my videos were doing great. And then I was like, I'm going to make a business out of this. And some dude was like, hey man, if you made a t-shirt that said military muscle on it, I would buy it. I'm like, oh, awesome. So got online, trademarked the name, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do this legit, and I was living in base housing at the time doing this. I was like E5 in the military still. And I was just like, if I'm going to do this legit, then I really need to like look and see, is anybody else doing this? So I Googled the name Military Muscle and a Facebook page popped up. And I was like, message a dude like, hey man, sorry, I own the name, it's trademarked, yada, yada, yada. But you had the same name idea I did, and I was in Africa, and you're over here. I was like, what was your idea with it? He's like, I was going to make T-shirts, etc. I was like, why don't we just partner up? So I partnered up with this dude. Yeah, and he was in the Air Force.
Where did that come from? The ability to recognize a play with collaboration instead of just fuck you, shut it down.
You had the same idea I did. Great minds think alike. You had the same idea I did, but I was in a completely different country, different time. You're Air Force, I'm Navy. We have nothing in common. How did you make up the same name I did? And what were you going to do with it? And he's just like, this is my idea, and this is my plan. And I was like, I'll do the video side, and I'll do the videos and workouts and all that fun shit. You do the back end and T-shirts and design and print and all that kind of stuff. And then we just partnered up.
Do you think that your experience, that your military experience, helps you recognize when there's a play to be made, partnering up and collaborating and cooperating instead of just lone wolfing it every time?
Yeah. One of the things you learn in the military is to read a situation, see if it's a strategic play or not. If you can strategize whatever's happening, then absolutely, yeah. But I mean, you still have missed some things there.
Well, but if he would have shot back with an FU and come get me or whatever, then obviously so obviously you're feeling out the situation.
Yeah, 100%.
And
that's what I was like, just tell me what your idea was. I didn't off the bat say, hey, let's go and collab with this. I said, hey, what's your idea with this? And then we talked back and forth. So yeah.
And did that take off to a degree?
It did. It did pretty well. Yeah. So now when I say pretty well,
what's the military think about you doing the kind of bifurcating your focus and having like a side hustle? Do they have an opinion on that? Do they frown on it?
You have to request to have your own business or have a second job.
Because you're marketing videos with their uniform on. They probably don't cotton to the idea that maybe you're doing any of this on their time.
No, so every time I worked, so you have to it's called routing a special request yet. You have to request to have a second job in the military. And when I would do the same thing with this, I had to write a request, can I start my own business, etc. There's a lot of stipulations, of course. However, you can't solicit, you can't wear the uniform with your name and U.S. Navy on it. So I had to take my uniform and take my blouse off. So I could wear my bottoms and my boots.
Interesting.
No, so all of my videos, there's no top uniform. It's all...
You look like Popeye?
I'm not wearing no shirt.
Are there any military muscle videos on YouTube now?
Absolutely.
So
go to YouTube, type in military muscle motivation. You'll see.
I want to see.
Yeah. This is my first video I ever made, so no judgments. This is like 2009, 10.
Bro, I don't judge anyone who hustles.
15 years ago.
I admire the fucking hell out of it. I think it's awesome.
That's it right there. How many views they got right now?
Battle tested.
How many views? 7.5 million
Look
views.
at that. Pump up that vol.
Yeah.
Get some TRX straps there.
And every single video I ever made was Rob Bailey. That was me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Rob Bailey was in the back of all of my videos.
He fires you up.
Oh, dude, I love this shit. Yeah. So pretty much, I'll walk you through it. So that's me in Uganda. That's our little workout tent.
Legit.
That's back when the clapping pull-up was cool.
Yeah.
And I had way less tattoos.
And hard to do.
Yeah, not really. No, now they're not. Right? Anyway, so like, so I reached out to a lot of my friends. That girl's a Marine Corps. And then this is one of the CBs down in the CB base. So what happened was I had a lot of friends that were also in the fitness space on social media. This is when Instagram first started. I was talking about Uganda doing bar stuff.
Yeah.
But like, and they would send me their videos, and I was like, hey, send me your cool videos, and I'll put them in my video. I'm making like every in here is military.
Are you editing all these yourself?
I did all the editing. Yeah.
Really? How'd you get the hang of that?
You see, this is garbage.
Well, okay.
I mean, very good.
I'm not here to criticize. So you said you don't know how your son's figuring stuff out so fast. I mean, look where he gets it from.
Well, I went on. I googled how to make videos.
Yeah.
Together. I found.
Did you learn on like the YouTube origin how to like the?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, so I learned. It's called Final Cut Pro is the app I use. And I was like, dude, cool. I downloaded it. It took 3.5 days to download when I was in Africa.
Right.
And there's me doing some jiu-jitsu crap. But yeah, so like all my friends, all these guys, these people I knew, they're all military. This dude, I don't know maybe Army, Marine Corps. But they showed me doing, they sent me videos doing some like insane shit, right? So I was like, hey, I'll put him in this video. And then I put him on, I just spliced all this shit. It was only like the same like 6 people.
Did you email Rob and say, hey, I'm making these videos?
No,
Can I
actually ran into Rob at the LA Fit Expo one year. And in 2013, I ran into him and I said, hey, dude, I use your music in my videos. And he's like, dude, that's fucking awesome. So we took a picture together, and
cool.
I showed him. He's like, "Yeah, I watched the video." I was like, "Oh, dude, that's legit." So I was like starstruck. This is again, 15 years ago. I was starstruck. I was like, "Rob Bailey knows my shit." But every one of my military muscle videos is going to be Rob Bailey in the background. Yeah.
When you, so Rob, obviously, flag nor fail, you know, got a good story too. Hustled, slept on the floor of his shop. You
absolutely
know,
amazing. Yeah,
he's a pretty savage motherfucker, and in the fitness apparel space. In business with his wife. Fought through a lot of lows and a lot of highs and more lows. And were you kind of looking at him? This is before social media is what it is. So did you know? You knew it's music, but did you know what he was doing in the apparel space?
I knew Flag Nor Fail because of Dana.
Right.
And I've always been a fan of that. And interesting story about that. Like, so I've always been a huge fan of Dana and Rob, both of them. I've loved their business, everything from the get-go, and their work ethic and the way they present themselves and their no fucks and all that stuff. My business partner actually pissed him off. And then he's like, I don't want to work in military muscle. He loved me and loved my videos, but then my business partner kind of pissed him off. I have no idea what he did till this day. Me and my business partner parted ways. I don't do anything in military muscle anymore.
This is the guy from Facebook. You found it? Really? And he pissed Rob off.
I guess so. I don't know what he did, but yes. Yeah. I wish I was, I wish I knew, but it definitely wasn't me. But
that's the tough thing about partnerships, 100%. Right? Partnerships in business.
And it's a brand. It's not a person anymore. Like this brand, if the brand pisses them off, it's a wrap.
Right.
So like, so me and my partner, we kind of drifted off because like, I was the CEO of Military Muscle at the time, and I just got orders to be a drill instructor for the Navy. So I was up there in boot camp screaming at people, beating the shit out of people.
Back stateside somewhere.
Oh, here in Chicago. Okay. Yeah, Chicago. So I was a drill instructor. I ran Navy boot camp. And, but the timing was ridiculous when it comes to owning a business. It's impossible. You can't do it. So I had to be at work at 4:30 every morning, and I get off at 10:30 at night. So you're there, and if you've been in Chicago in the snow, you got to wake up at 2:30 to shovel off your car and then drive from 3:30 to 4:30. Like, it's ridiculous. So I was sleeping from about 11:30 to 2:30 every night for 3 years straight. Yeah.
That's not going to do good things for your cortisol levels.
Not just that, but like, could you run a business? No, you can't, right?
It's hard to stay in shape on that little sleep.
So my business partner was like, hey, you have no time to do this. Let me run the business until you're done, and then you'll take it back over. Well, fast forward 3.5 years after I was done being a drill instructor, he's like, I ain't giving it back. And I said, all right, bro, sounds good. I'm going to start my own business over here, which is my new business now.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, do your thing. And then that's it.
When you're in the service full time and you're not deployed, what's a day like? Besides boring as hell.
Well, it all depends. There's some days we call it muster and make it. Where like you go to work at 9 a.m. for muster. That's where you, hey, I'm here at work. Everybody says, hey, I'm here. And then you go home. It's called muster make it. And then you just go. You have no tasks for the day.
Interesting.
But most of it's just training. Like you're just training.
Lots of repetition.
100%. Well, there's no, not just it's training, meaning like you do PowerPoints, you do combat lifesaver training, you go to the range and shoot, you shoot the 9mm, the 16, you do all that kind of training because you're training for deployment is what your goal is. And if your job is an air conditioning tech, then you go to AC schools, air conditioning schools, and like different types of schools for that. If your job is an electrician, you go to electrical schools and stuff like that. Climbing poles and stuff to put electrical wires up. But there's two different kinds of duty stations when you're not deployed. So when you're deployed, you're in a deployable status, meaning I can deploy, right? See, I deploy and I come back. Now it's called home port. Then there's a duty station called shore duty where you can't even deploy at all. So you always rotate shore, sea, shore, sea. So it's called a sea-shore rotation. So if you're deployable for 3 years, you may only deploy once. If you have your year at home, maybe you deploy for 9 months, and then you have a year at home, and then you transfer to a new duty station. That's how that works. Or you could get stuck being the opposite, where you do a 6-month deployment, you're back for 6 months, you deploy again for 6 months, you're back for 6 months. You can do 4 deployments in 3 years, and that's pretty much what I did. But when you're shore duty, you don't deploy at all. You're non-deployable, is what it means. So there's some times, like when I was a drill instructor, I'm not going to deploy. So I was go to work every day.
How long were you in the service before your first deployment?
7 months.
And then you deploy.
Yeah, then I deploy.
And you find yourself in a hole right away.
Yep.
Did you deploy as a CB or did you? Okay.
Yep.
But what led to go get in that hole?
So, what led to that? I mean,
it's just one thing leads to another, and we got a problem to solve, and it doesn't matter what you want.
Yeah,
we
so
gotta solve the
we were
problem.
building these roads, right? And we have CB is a thing called battalion, right? So we're in Iraq, and we're building a road from base to base.
You're over there doing construction.
Yep.
With firearms to keep yourself and the people around you safe.
CB's motto
Reading
is
plans, right? Talking to engineers, setting shit up. What? Building bridges.
We are the engineers.
Just getting infrastructure ready to roll. Just doing what a construction crew would do.
100%.
But you're a lethal weapon.
Correct. So the CB
it.
motto is "We build, we fight." That's our motto.
Cool.
So pretty much, I
can dig it.
Long time ago, like the military needed construction workers, so they hired civilians. And the civilians came in and they built shit while the military protected them. They said, why are we doing this? Why don't we make a military job to do construction and give them a firearm? And that's where the CBs came in.
Interesting.
So pretty much so say you want to build a road, and we're building a road, right? You set up a perimeter. Say you're building a 60-foot stretch of road. You dig holes, a perimeter around this hole in the middle of the desert in Iraq. Everybody sits in the hole, not everybody, but people who are sitting in the hole sit in the hole. You're standing watch in the hole. You're watching out for the bad guys while they pave the road. And when they're done with this section, you pack everything up, you move it down, you redo it again. Yeah. And that's what you did for 6 months. Yeah.
And how real and present was the danger every day?
All the time. All the time. Now, the further the years go, I mean, 2003 to 2005, I was in Fallujah. Fallujah, and I went to Camp Bahariya a lot, but in Fallujah was pretty much my main hub. And then I was on this thing called the TMT, which is the Tactical Movement Team, where we would convoy people around, and that's pretty much what we did there.
When you got there, was it like a shock to the system, the weather?
Oh, it's so hot.
Yeah.
You walk outside, it's like a hairdryer just blowing in your face.
You've seen Jarhead with...
Yeah. It's the same shit.
Pretty similar?
100%.
If you... so a lot of people who think they know anything about the military have no idea. You know, I've never served, you know.
Movies...
I have family members. What, in your opinion, of the movies that you've seen that depict the military experience is the most realistic? Can you think of one? Does one jump off the page of your mind as an example?
American Sniper.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's real. Absolutely. Yeah. How you go in and out.
Real gritty.
In and out of base, gritty, sandy, shit, sucks. Yeah.
Then Eastwood directed that, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's I think that's a really good one. The best ones are the old school ones.
Yeah,
like we were soldiers.
Does it drive you nuts when We Were Soldiers? The Mel Gibson.
Yeah, man. It's
Sam
I don't know. That's all old. So
that's a great movie. That's a great cast.
Yeah.
Do those movies drive you nuts? Because people watch that shit and they think they know what you guys had to go through.
No, what's interesting is like when I was a drill instructor in the Navy, we call it an RDC, a recruit division commander, right? But in layman's terms, drill instructor. So like when I was doing that. When the recruits first get in and they have to sign this document that says, like, why'd you join the Navy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What was your inspirations? What are you hoping to learn? What do you want to work on? All that kind of stuff, right? You look at these questionnaires, and some of these questionnaires are mind-blowing. One of them is like, SOCOM. I'm like, what the fuck is SOCOM? I was like, so in the military, SOCOM is Special Operations Command. I'm like, I've been stationed with SOCOM. What do you mean SOCOM? He's like, oh, the video game. So you watched this video game and you said, I want to do that. I'm like, all right, cool. It is what it is. Another guy said, Mark Wahlberg's role in The Lone Survivor. That was his reason for joining the military.
So he wanted to be on the team.
So I said, what you said? Well, because in boot camp, I pushed they're called 800 divisions, where they're the Navy SEAL wannabes. Like they come through boot camp and they still have to go through boot camp. Even if you want to be a SEAL, you have to go through boot camp. So those are all my guys, right? So I was reading out, those are these guys with these answers. Usually those are like the 18, 17, 19-year-old kids. Then you have some other people. I push UFC fighters to boot camp that are like, I'm 30 years old, and this is what I want to do. And like those are the hard guys. Those are the guys that know what they want to do with their life. These other kids, they see video games played, they see movies, and that's what they want to do. But I was like, you saying you saw this dude fall down a mountain for 2 hours straight, and you said, I want to do that. Nobody says that. Come on, be real, you know. But yeah, it's nuts, man.
Well, there's something inside of men.
Yep, 100%.
That is that they're just not satisfied with instant gratification and Uber Eats and all the porn you can watch. Yep. There's something there. Most men understand or feel this like calling. There's all kinds of books, whether it's called, well, do whatever you want. or any adventure books, the Endurance, the Shackelford story, or Shackleton story, where they survive a shipwreck in Antarctica, right?
Yep.
There's these, and a lot of us that are, you know, similar type of personalities, we admire those stories. We think about those things, and we go, I don't want to drive a truck my whole life.
Yep.
I want to go fuck shit up. I want to go be heroic. I want to go with my buddies. I want to feel something more.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I feel like, and I could be wrong. Maybe I just watch too much of the same shit, but I feel like there's an attack on that. Like there is this weird, you know, that's kind of toxic, Elijah. You know, I don't know, man. Let's hug it out and let's, you know, and you think to yourself, well, there's a reason why I feel this way. It's, I didn't invent it.
Yeah.
Maybe I watched a movie and it struck a chord, but it's there. There's something there. You know, as you rise through the ranks to becoming a drill sergeant, where you're drill instructor, where you're talking to these young guys, as you get older and they stay the same age, like McConaughey says in Dazed and Confused, or do you see less of that fire and less of that fire and less of that fire as you're getting on in age, but you keep seeing 17 and 18-year-olds? Is there just a softer and softer and softer, what do you call that, a prospect, a recruit coming in the door?
Oh, yeah, recruits are weak. Facts.
But have they always been this weak?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There was some hard motherfuckers when I was going through boot camp.
Is it shocking now what you're seeing?
I don't say it's shocking. I think it's sad. Because I think the way the world is now, it's making people weak. And I don't want to say people. It's making men weak. I think the goal is to make men weak, because if you have strong men, it's harder to control a nation when it's a nation full of strong men, right? It's easier to control a nation when everybody is weak. If everyone's sheep, then it's easier to control, right? But if everybody, if a man is a strong man, strong-willed, etc., dangerous man, if you will, then they're harder to control. But the society is trying to create weak men. They're trying to make men weaker by saying that's toxic. That's toxic masculinity. So you need to stop doing that. No, I'm a fucking man, and I'm hardwired to do that. Why? Because if shit hits the fan, who do you rely on? Are you going to run behind this weak man over here that can't lift a Coke can? Or are you going to go to the guy that looks like he's going to save the day? Probably the guy that looks like he's going to save the day. But why would you do that? Because you're hardwired to do that. You're hardwired to follow the person who you think is going to protect you. Men are hardwired to protect. It's just how it works. Now the society is shaping these young men into just weaker men.
What is it? What do you see? Like, what are the most egregious examples of society? What it's like? That's such a broad term. You know, we use it, or culture. What culture is this? A result of music, of the education system, of talking about how bad concussions are in the NFL, of just the softening of everything? Or is it, you know, do you see more glaring examples in certain different verticals of like entertainment, science, education than you did for Sohail? When you get a chance, can we get a little more water for the big man?
Yeah, so I think what makes it worse is social media. Social media absolutely makes it worse.
You can see a correlation there. Social media is starting to hit its zenith in the overall
100%.
Mental and physical. Because this is not just mental strength we're talking about.
So,
like, it's just insane how fat people are now. So, like, it's crazy, man.
we'll get on that.
No, I mean, you're in the fitness industry.
But like, so it's interesting because my friend has a whole theory, and I never even thought of it like this until me and him started. We have extensive, lengthy conversations about dangerous men. What is a dangerous person, right? What is it? People think dangerous. They think violent. They think capable of destruction. Unhinged. That's dangerous. No. Or may cause harm. That's, quote unquote dangerous, right? But so the way he describes it, and I 1000% agree with this, a dangerous man is not someone who is violent. A dangerous man is someone who has the capability of violence, who is loyal, who is faithful, who is physically strong, who is innovative, who is resilient. That is a dangerous man.
And who controls all their controllables. That's
100%.
About as dangerous and as powerful as you can be.
So that's a dangerous man. In society, that is a dangerous man. Jordan Peterson said, a harmless man is not a good man. You need to be very, very dangerous. And a dangerous man is somebody who can control when they are dangerous. So if you have the capability of being a violent person, great. It doesn't mean you're a violent person. It means that if shit hits the fan, I can protect everybody in this room. If I have 4 kids going on 5, and we're all in a room together having dinner or whatever, and some knucklehead busts in the door, I need to be able to have the capability to defend them if shit hits the fan. I need to have the training. I need to have the capability to do it. And if I don't, then who is?
Right.
Then who is? If more people were dangerous, if more men were dangerous men, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, what is that? What's that term that Rogan always uses? Better be a gardener. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Absolutely, and that's what's happening now. Is the society, the world is creating, social media is creating it to be okay for men to be more feminine. And I don't mean like to attack any type of group. I'm saying more feminine, meaning, oh, you show us your feelings. It's okay to cry. It's okay to do this. And you can also follow the, whatever. A man doesn't do that. A man is the leader. If I am the lead in my household, right? If I'm head of household, I can't lead somebody that I also don't have authority over. I can't. It's impossible to lead someone you don't have authority over. So if I don't have authority over you in my household, I can't lead my household, right? If let's share this authority. Sounds good. But when it comes to protecting, who's supposed to do it? Are we going to share that? No. The man is going to step up and do that.
Yeah, an authority, I think, goes hand in hand with credibility.
100%.
So, for example, your kids see you stumbling through the door at 3 a.m., 3 or 4 times a week drunk.
You're going to lose credibility, and you're going to lose that authority. 1,000%.
Yeah. And that applies, obviously, in the armed forces. That applies in business. Leading from the front is often doing things that are very boring, monotonous, that are not exciting, that are not sexy, that are, that are just, they're just like what your dad did. He got up and he worked really hard, and he did everything he could possibly do to get that roof leak fixed, right?
No.
Maybe not that, but everything else.
But everything else, he'd work, 2-3 jobs.
Yeah.
And half the time he wouldn't be home for dinner, and he would send a pizza home on my front doorstep, and that's what we eat for dinner. Me and my brother.
Yeah, I think that social media has distracted everyone away from what is super important.
I think that's what social media is now, is a distraction.
Yeah.
So I tell all my friends and my wife all the time, I miss the days when if it didn't happen in your neighborhood, you didn't know it happened.
Sure.
You didn't hear about it unless it was major. Like, you didn't even hear about it. But now on social media, you know what's happening everywhere around the country and overseas, Europe, etc. That has nothing to do with you. But then you sit there and you focus on it, and you scroll and you scroll and you scroll. Social media to me is just...
And you get madder and madder about shit you can't control.
100%.
And it takes your focus off the controllables.
It doesn't just take your focus off the controllables. It takes your focus off your life. There's people, I see, you go to restaurants and husband and wife just sitting there scrolling on their phones. Yeah. So it's a distraction from your relationship now. Maybe they have a problem with the relationship, so out to dinner, but now they're still distracted.
Because it's easy to procrastinate on fixing, it's having the real conversation, turning the phone over.
Everyone needs some sort of entertainment now.
Yeah.
Scrolling on their phone while driving, texting while driving, scrolling on their phone on a date. I'm having dinner and everyone's on their phones, and it's like...
Yeah, you do go out with friends.
What are you here with me for?
Yeah, you go out with friends and you look around and everyone's on their phone. And you're we just all drove an hour to be in the same place. If me and you go out,
right, and we're going to go have a drink, and you're sitting on your phone, I would wonder who's on your phone. Why aren't you out with them right now?
Yeah.
If they're having a conversation with them is so important, why aren't you out with them right now?
Well, it's very overtly disrespectful in a passive-aggressive
100%,
way.
Yeah.
It's, I hear you.
I don't give a shit. That means nothing to me.
Yeah, and believe me, you cannot multitask. There are people who think you can multitask.
No, I try.
That is a misnomer.
My wife will call me out on it, and I'll be like, "No, babe, I'm listening." She's like, "Really?" Yeah, like, because the pause means no, I wasn't. So I'm like, okay, let's put that down for yeah. You got to have a time limit. You got to have, and that's what sucks is it's a distraction, but it's also become socially acceptable. And nowadays, You go out now and the younger group of kids, like they don't know how to communicate anymore. They have no idea. COVID ruined so much communication in the real world. You go to Walmart, people are just rude now. They look at you like you're just socially awkward. It's weird.
Well, holding a conversation with someone is a skill.
Yeah.
Like you can't go live underground for 20 years. So they've made movies about this, right? And then surface and then you're good.
No.
You can just
You're going to have to acclimate back.
right?
Yeah.
You got to build. So 2 weeks, flatten the curve, 6 feet away. That's when I started this podcast, was to say I'm not 6 feet away in anybody, and no masks allowed when the cold was this threat to all of us. When that came out, were you looking around going, y'all are buying this bullshit? Or what was your response?
It was exactly what you just said. But the hard part about this is, it's like, so when I was in the military, it was forced on us. No. You had to get this vaccine or else you had to get the fuck out. They kick you out. You could do 20 years.
Like dishonorably, or how would that have worked?
I don't know what the charge would be, the discharge would be, but you'd be kicked out regardless.
Literally, your livelihood is gone if you don't take this experimental.
So, like a year ago or so, there was a few, I think 7 Navy SEALs got kicked out of the Navy. It costs like $1 million to train a SEAL to go just to be one.
Wow.
And you just kick them out. So all that gone. Right? So this is back when the world was looking pretty bad. It's still bad, but it is, it was looking pretty bad. Like it was going down a dark path, right? So I always sit there and think, like, you just kick these men out. They're the baddest men on the planet. Yet, what do you think is going to happen when the world goes to shit? And this guy over here you just kicked out, who's the most dangerous man on the planet, the highly skilled killer, what is he going to do to provide for his family? He's going to use what he's fucking good at. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. That is a dangerous man. He's going to use what he's good at, and he's going to provide for his family. And it might not be something that you like. You know what I mean? Like, so why would you do that? It just makes no sense. So here's the thing. I'm not anti-vax. Don't quote me saying I'm anti-vax. I have more vaccines in my body than you could possibly think of. In boot camp, you walk through a line, you're like, stick. And you just go stick. You just go for right. I get vaccines out the ass. The problem is I've never been told you have to get this one or else you have to get the fuck out. Never been told that. In 20 years I've been in the Navy. 2 years ago, I was told you have to get this or else you're getting out. I'm like, huh, interesting. So when I deployed to Iraq for multiple times, you had to get certain vaccines, yellow fever, anthrax, et cetera, et cetera. But if you decided not to get them, you can sign a document called a page 13 saying you understand the risk.
Like a waiver?
Like a waiver. Like, you understand the risk. So if you get this, life insurance doesn't cover it. You understand the risk. The Navy's not liable anymore. Why this vaccine?
Because it became political.
Why? Why this one?
Yeah.
And then fast forward a year, now all of a sudden, the Navy doesn't have to do it anymore. Military doesn't have to do it anymore. It's not mandatory anymore.
Because we have herd immunity, apparently.
Do you see what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Why at that given time did you kick out so many people, fire nurses, fire doctors, fire police people, kick people out of the military?
I'm not anti-vax either. I am 1,000% anti-forced vax.
Thank you. That's what I am.
Yeah. Just like I don't think that the military or I don't think that the government should be able to tell you that you can't drink until you're 21. Just like I don't think that anybody should tell you you can't take this substance because it's somehow illegal. If you want to do that and it's not hurting somebody else and you're dumb enough to eliminate yourself as a living, breathing member of humanity, that's on you.
Yeah.
I'm 100%. What you want to do is up to you. As long as it doesn't hurt someone else or a kid, go for it.
Yep.
But yes, that's very odd that one.
Why that one? Yeah.
Of all of them.
Just for the record, I'm not vaccinated.
Really? How'd you pull that off?
I have my ways.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Some Aaron Rodgers type, similar type approaches there.
Maybe.
Just ways.
Yeah, just ways. I wasn't going to. I'm not going to be my hand forced to do something that I want to do.
You don't seem like...
On top of that, I had 9 months left in the Navy.
Yeah.
So first off, say I would have fought it, right? They can admin sep me, which would take about 14 months. I'd been retired by then. So there would be no way they could even fight it. There's no reason to.
So you deploy,
Yep.
first deployment, how long were you over there?
7 months.
Okay. And were you loving it? Because there's live action, but you're prepping. I mean,
I was away
game
from
day.
home. I loved it. I wasn't where I was. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
First time ever being on a plane was flying to boot camp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, first time ever being on a plane. I was poor. I didn't.
How old were you when you deployed? So you're 18
19.
plus 7 months, 9 months,
19.
19 years old.
Yep. And then my second deployment was to Diego Garcia. It's an island. What's interesting, I just found this out literally a couple weeks ago. Diego Garcia is about 500 miles south of India, which is the same chain of islands as the Maldives.
Huh.
No idea. I was deployed there for 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. If you can't.
I was deployed in the Maldives.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like, look up Diego Garcia and see where it is in conjunction with the Maldives. The island is about a half a mile wide and a few miles long. That's where the Navy base is. I had no idea that it was in the same spot as the Maldives.
And are you just down there? I
was deployed there. We're building a few sea huts for.
Yeah, if you hit
for the
maps,
locals.
I bet it'll pull up something reasonably rad.
Now scroll out
Yeah.
a tad. So that is Diego Garcia. That's the air base. Now look up. Look above it. There's all the Maldive Islands. No,
Interesting.
zoom in. There you go. Right
There you go. Wow. So is it tropical and beautiful?
Absolutely beautiful.
Best
Oh, it was
tan of your
amazing.
life?
Oh, the tan. So the tanning, we would go offshore and we would fish. You'd catch every weekend 80, 90, 100-pound tunas.
Really?
I have fresh tuna steaks my entire deployment. It was phenomenal. Yeah, so that was Diego Garcia.
You can't find a cleaner protein.
Go back to that. Go back to that. Yeah, that
Down
photo.
one?
Yeah, that spot right there. Hold on. I got you. But yeah, so that was my second deployment. Third deployment was back to Iraq. That was in Fallujah at the time. And then after that, I went to, where is that at? I went back to Iraq and then Kuwait. And then...
Man, you're just a deploying son of a gun.
And then I went to, after Kuwait, I went to Italy for 3 years. And then Sigonella, Sicily. And then after Sicily, I deployed to Okinawa, Japan. And then after Japan, I went to, where is this? And after Japan, I went to, let me find that. I got to find this for you.
Well, Jess has friends in Australia and South Africa.
This is what's cool.
You have friends in Spain.
This is actually going to be
Madrid, to be exact.
really cool for this. Keep that photo up. That was my group photo in.
That's awesome,
Diego.
dude. Holy shit, that's legit.
Is that not like the same
Yeah,
spot?
it looks almost exact.
Yeah, that was our group photo in Diego.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What of all the places you were deployed, what was your favorite and what was your least favorite?
I liked Uganda.
Yeah, the
Uganda
Pearl
was
of
amazing.
Africa is what they used to
Uganda
call
was
it.
amazing. We did a few. So our job there was I was I led the CB camp that was down there. There was only 26 of us on the entire camp. We helped a lot of people. We did a lot of humanitarian efforts there. The entire camp was for the SEAL teams to be there and train the local special forces. So we were right on the Nile River, so that was cool as shit.
That is.
But like the little camp we were on, so right outside the camp, I seen huts that were like made out of mud and sticks and leaves and kids drinking out of mud puddles. It was crazy, kicking rocks as a soccer ball. So when we were there on our off time, we're like, I'm not just going to sit here. I'd work out clearly. But I'm not going to sit here. So let's go drive around and load up a fucking truck with wood and tools and shit and start building people's fucking houses. So even the house is the size of this room, so it wasn't big, and they didn't need rooms inside or a kitchen. There literally was just 4 walls made out of mud with a straw top.
You guys are like Habitat for Humanity.
So
the
we're
Uganda
just going
edition?
fucking building walls. Literally all you're doing is building walls. You're not building a house.
Yeah.
We'd build the walls. They'd put the shit on top, the locals, and then they were like, now it's weatherproof.
That's pretty cool.
It was
of you.
awesome. So every weekend we just go out there, build 2, 3 little huts.
Yeah.
I don't even call them a home because
Right.
it's just 4 walls is what it was, with a door. They didn't want a door on it. They just wanted an open thing. So when it rained, they'd put like a burlap over it. So the rain didn't get, it's nuts. It's crazy what people live in, and we're all complaining about our life here.
Yeah.
But so that was awesome. We went on safaris saw lions, giraffes, elephant, wild, not like this zoo shit here. It was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. And the food there, amazing.
Hyenas, hippos.
Hippos, yes. I didn't see hyenas, no.
Hippo, man. That's my spirit animal right there. Oh, hippos
are dangerous.
Bad
yeah, I was staying in a little hut on the safari right off the Nile River, and the tour guide was just like, when you hear hippos, go back inside. I was like, what are you talking about? Those things sound amazing. Like, yeah, that means they're close. Get away! Like they're not friendly animals.
Have you heard of Escobar's hippos in Colombia?
No.
So he wanted to do something, but do it like right. Like he's doing all this illegal shit, and government's letting him or whatever. He's obviously running these cartels and just banking on cocaine and whatever. And he wants to start a zoo. Yeah, there's a couple of great documentaries, short ones. So he imports hippos to Colombia. Well, the problem is that hippos in Africa, they will stop gestating and stop breeding for years on end sometimes when there's a drought. The females can feel it, and they're not going to give birth. Nature is very smart.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in Colombia, there's no droughts, man. I mean, they got all the vegetation they can eat. They got all the ponds they can, and so they have just overrun these areas, these villages. And they just decimate village people, just maim them.
Yeah,
I mean, and
you said no chance.
Yeah, and they tried to control the population in any ways they could. And there's big time environmentalists getting all fired up because they're taking out hippos. Because if a hippo comes after you and gets you, you're fucked, man. If you live,
you're in the way.
You're not gonna live the same.
Yeah.
And so now what they're trying to do is they're trying to control the breeding naturally. So they'll take, and they're also trying to socialize hippos. So they'll take a baby hippo and they'll cordon it off, and then they'll put it in contact with as many humans. Yeah, it's all these weird.
I'm sorry. It's a wild animal. Let that thing be wild.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. What did military life do to your experience as a first-time father?
Well, my first son, I wasn't even there for. So I missed almost all of my kids' births.
Where were you deployed for your first son's
Diego
birth?
Garcia. So right after my son was born, I also had to deploy like 4 months later. And then my daughter, I was not there for her birth. I was in Basra, Iraq when she was born. I Skyped it right after. I was Skyping like every 2 minutes when she was getting ready to be born. So I was in. My daughter was born in Sicily, so she's a dual citizen now. But I was in Basra, Iraq when my daughter was born, so I wasn't there for that. My son EJ Elijah Jr. Was born in Chicago. I was there for that, and then my most recent Jackson was. I was there for that. But so I missed my daughter's birth. Yeah.
When did that take a toll on your relationship with your kid's mom?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, we're divorced now, so probably. But I was gone all the time.
Military. I mean, there's no real sympathy for it. It's just you just deal with it. Everybody else.
You have no choice. You have no choice. And there's support systems out there, which we'll get into that whole thing with the Wealth Wave guy you talked about earlier.
Yeah,
I have an interesting system with that, but. Yeah, so like there's a support system for when you deploy with all the wives and talk and stuff like that, but she wasn't into all that kind of stuff.
When you, how old were you when you were promoted? Is that the right thing to say? If you
promoted,
you rank up, into more of like a father figure type.
So when
drill instructor type, you're talking to 17-year-olds, you're in your 30s, they're probably looking up to you. They're probably a little scared, maybe excited, maybe they want to prove how wild and badass they are or whatever.
Well, I was the mean one, the drill instructor.
Really?
I was the mean. I'd beat the shit out of people.
Was that decided upon beforehand?
No, I think it's
just gravitate toward that.
I just gravitated towards that. Like if I see someone being soft, I'm like, no, fuck that. So then I go handle the situation. So it's interesting. Like some of my divisions, some of my divisions I would push. They'd be loud, crazy, do nut stuff, and then I walk in and just silence. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I liked. I was like, everybody shut up. I'm here. It's my turn. Huh. So I like that. But also like you earn that because they're not like that from the get-go. When they first get there, they're wild and crazy. Long hair, crazy. They're just nuts. They're just, I call them just dummies. They're just dummies. But over the 8 weeks, they learn to respect authority. And out of the 3, because you have 3 division commanders or 2 to 3, they learn to respect it because you're with them for 8 weeks every day, all day. 8 weeks straight, like from wake up to go to bed.
Oh.
So they learn who you are. Yeah. You can't fake who you are for 8 weeks straight when you wake up to when you go to sleep. You can't fake that. So you can be hard all you want in the beginning, yell at you, you better respect me, all that kind of stuff. But eventually the kids are going to see the real you. And naturally towards the end of the push, usually it's me that they
gravitate
respect
toward.
the most and gravitate the most. Yeah, like
interesting.
But they come to me for advice, all that stuff. Not just, hey, this guy's a hard ass and he's gonna yell at me if I do something wrong, but more like, I want to ask this guy about my career, about my future, about I have a wife at home. How does this work for my family? Stuff like that. That's when I first got into the major leadership role in my Navy career. And then my last duty station is when I made this rank called Chief. When you make Chief, you go through this thing called Chief's Initiation. It's like 6 weeks long of mental beating, uniforms, physical, all that kind of stuff, challenges and trials and tribulations when you first make Chief, they ask you a question and they ask you, why do you deserve to make Chief? Why do you deserve to be promoted?
What'd you say?
What did I say?
Yeah.
My original answer was like, because I'm awesome and I did this, I did that, I did this, and I led this many people, I did this, yada, 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 this many deployments. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, well, I thought it was awesome. This is what's going on now? What's going on?
Why'd y'all even call me in here?
Yeah, this is bullshit. So then so fast forward throughout the 6-week process, the whole goal is to learn one thing. At the end of the 6 weeks, if whoever's the chief going through season, this is we call it a spoon. I'm spoon feeding you this answer. The whole process of the 6 weeks, this made me a better dad. This made me a better CEO, a better business owner, a better friend. Because the whole 6 weeks, it boils down to this one thing. It's not about you. It's not. It is about everyone who got you to where you are. It is about all the people that work underneath you. You're not doing everything yourself. They're making you look good. So what do you have to do in return? Take care of them. So in essence, it's not about you, and take care of your people. That's all it's about. So, and from a father perspective, it's not about me. I need to take care of my family. From a business perspective, it's not about me. I need to take care of my people. So I do the same thing with my employees. I try to treat them amazing. I try to give them as many perks and benefits as humanly possible in a business. At home, the same kind of concept. My kids, my friends. It's not about me. It's about how do I take care of my people. And the chief's sole job in the Navy is to take care of their people. That's it.
Yeah, that's a real departure from I did this, I did this to oh shit. From I'm not a businessman to I'm a businessman. Look at my brand. Look at my sneaker. Look at my and that's an old school way of looking at it.
Yep.
Where when you're building teams, effective teams that are all pulling in the same direction, everyone has to be on the same page. Now, often the newcomers aren't, but they look around and they go, "Oh, it's working this way." And you don't really even have to twist their arm because they see, "Oh, this is working."
Yep.
Or like you said about 30, 40 minutes ago, you looked around in your hometown growing up and you said, I don't see anybody living a life that I want to live.
Yep.
And then you get around people and you probably started going, I wouldn't mind living that life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind living that life. And, okay, I see what this guy does. He gets up early. He's faithful to his wife. He cares about his kids. It's not about him. He's disciplined. He does hard shit. He controls the controllables, right? All the things that nowadays aren't really glamorized very much.
They're actually demonized.
Yeah, and you see people like Jocko or Goggins out there, or Tim Kennedy out there making as much of an inroad as possible, trying to tell people like, y'all, you got to get a hold of it.
And then people are trying to shut them up.
Right.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
It is very, it's very odd. That whole former officer, current civilian, but recruiter role that you see people like Goggins, Tim Kennedy, Jocko Willink. There's many others. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Goggins was a chief.
But he's a civilian now.
Yeah, but he was a chief. He went to the chief season.
Right.
Like, same thing I did. Yep.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, he's got Dan Crenshaw
Yep.
talking shit about. In fact, he was on with Rob Bailey on Rob Bailey's
really? I
podcast
didn't know
like a week ago.
Yeah.
It's called Chips and Caviar. Rob just started it. Yeah,
Yeah?
Goggins came on there, virtual with Rob and whoever co-hosts it, and just called Dan Crenshaw's ass out.
Oh,
and
really?
Goggins doesn't really do that, but he's like, I'm just fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take this anymore. Like, you can't even watch it on YouTube without doing the prove you're 18 because there's so much cussing and
Dang,
stuff.
okay.
in it.
I cuss a
He
lot,
gets
too.
really, I do too, man. It's a weird deal because YouTube used to not care about it, and now
Well,
they get all
social media
fired up
censors
about
that shit now.
Right.
They censor again. It goes back to making men hard.
it. Yeah.
And so my buddy has on his website. It's like the circle, right? Where hard times creates what is it? Hold on, what is it?
Yeah.
It is hard
Good
times.
times.
Good times create hard men. Or
Hard times.
hard times create good men. Good men create easy times. Easy times create weak men, and then it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a hard time. We're having a hard time.
Yeah.
However, we're trying to develop weak men.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Yeah.
Then how do you get back to having good times?
Yeah. When you juxtaposed what somebody who's probably politically correct would say if they observed you in a drill instructor role, you know, Elijah Chief Maine, that was what you just did right there was bullying. And you say, no, these guys signed up to be here. They weren't drafted. They decided to be here. They're here to learn how to become something more than just themselves. Right? But a strong team is only as strong as its weakest link. So when you're on a team, you have a responsibility, the man in front of you, behind you, to either side of you, to be your best. And then you compare that to just that video that you and I were talking about a couple months ago when I asked you to jump, if you could jump on, where you see this real weird bullying type. It's pretty common nowadays, and social media makes it worse for the young for young people. That's what you do to help these young men become strong men is not the same as a lot of this bullying that we see.
So there's difference
Nowadays.
between bullying. In the Navy, we have this thing called hazing, where, say, for instance, if I'm making you do derogatory shit, that's called hazing. If I'm saying, hey, clean my boots and fucking make my sandwich and shit, that's called hazing. If I'm saying drink this liquid out of my work boot because I'm telling you to do it, that's called hazing. That's not allowed in the Navy. Hazing is not allowed. Bullying is also not allowed in the Navy. However, what people are offended by now is considered bullying now, but everything is offensive. If there's a camera on me when I was a drill instructor, and this goes to all my friends that are also drill instructors with me, they would 100% say 90% of the shit you're doing is offensive. Now, back then, it created hard shit. It created hard people. That shit created hard people, men and women.
I mean, there was a hubbub about 6 months ago. Somebody put out a video of somebody in Buds screaming and hollering right in somebody's face, and then social media said this is
offensive.
This is offensive
bullying.
and bullying, and you're just like, yo,
You don't have to be here.
when shit hits the fan, and I think unfortunately it's going to in some way, shape, or form. I don't think it's going to be this tangible thing. It's be way more digital. I think it's going to be some taking out power grids, fucking up banking systems, things like that.
Infrastructure stuff.
Yeah, that's way more scalable for the attacking force than you come to my doorstep and you meet me and we're not gonna agree type stuff. There's going to be, like you've said already today, there's going to be this gravitation toward the people who I don't really give a shit if life's not fair. That's something I learned a long time ago.
It's not
Actually
fair.
sitting around talking about it is of zero benefit to me or you or anyone watching it. But I do know that those type of people who are giving off that type of energy of I don't really care if it's fair or not. I just know that we've got a problem to solve. Now, those are the people who people are going to line up behind. And I think it takes a certain amount of strength these days to go, you know, I guess it's against popular opinion to act a certain way, to think a certain way, to live a certain way. I don't really fucking care. It's just the way it's going to be. And I'm not bending to popular opinion. I'm also not going to be all things to all men. I'm not going to sit in the middle and be everybody's friend. I'm going to respect everyone, every people group. group. I don't care who you like to fuck. I don't care what God you worship. I don't care. I'm going to respect you. Now you come, you create a problem or you endanger a child or one of my children or one of my friends, then we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not going to want to, you're not going to want any part of that. How exposed are we as a country to foreign attack? As someone who's served our country for over 2 decades, do you see that as a threat, as an imminent threat at all?
I don't know the details about like who our current threats are now. That wasn't my job. I wasn't privy to that type of information. However, when it comes to, I've been on a lot of deployments. I've seen a lot of our enemy face to face. I've looked in the eyes of them. When you look at our country now from the outside looking in, we are extremely weak and vulnerable. So when you say like, what does it look like? Everyone's a threat, I believe, right now, because they're looking at us like we're weak. Like we cannot defend ourselves. That's what they're looking at us like. We look like clowns from the outside looking in. 100%. Clowns.
Yeah, and we use social media more than anybody.
But what do we see in social media?
This bullshit.
There's studies that show this. Yeah. If you go to a foreign country and scroll on social media in that country, you're going to be seeing different things. Graduations, diplomas, or whatever they call them over there. Science experiments, innovation, invention, all that. That's what you see. Here, what do you see?
Asses.
Tits and ass.
Yeah.
I see so much porn on my phone now. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Now, it's not technically porn. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. You're wearing a fishnet outfit, and you can see fucking everything.
Ridiculous.
My 11-year-old daughter can see that on her Instagram, which nobody has anymore. My kids don't. But the fact that you can see that now, it's making it readily available. But what's happening to young boys is you're desensitized to the world. You're desensitized. You see somebody get killed. Who cares? I see it on social media all the time. Right? Am I right? Yeah. There's fights all over social media.
Yeah.
If you see it in person, it's not going to faze you.
Right.
Now you're desensitized to it. Same goes for women. You're a young boy, 18 years old, and you see this beautiful woman completely exposed on social media. Now it's not a secret anymore. When I was growing up, man, I couldn't wait to see that.
Sears catalog,
I couldn't wait. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't wait to see that. But now they're desensitized to it, and it gives a false reality of the world. And it's like, nothing phases people anymore because they see everything.
You lock down social media for your kids?
As much as I can.
Yeah. And limit the screen time?
My son's is all deleted. Yeah, he doesn't have any of it. I think he has Instagram now, but that's about it.
Yeah. Probably for the best. I mean,
absolutely.
I just don't think there's any other way, is there?
Talk to people. Go out and have a conversation.
Yeah. And go outside, for fuck's sake.
If I didn't have a business, I wouldn't have social media at all.
Yeah.
I might have a Facebook just to keep in touch with my family I don't really talk to often. Keep them up to date. That's why I'm not texting 30 people. I'd rather just post once and they all see it. Yeah. But if it was from a business, I wouldn't have anything at all.
When you see school shootings, which are just happening at this increased rate of succession, it's just unbelievable. And then the immediate upshot is we got to control the guns instead of we have got to take this mental health thing by the horns and figure something out here. What are your thoughts as a guy who knows his way around a firearm or two?
My first thought is, are we doing everything we can at our schools to protect our children from those people with mental health issues? Because whoever takes a weapon, I don't care what kind of weapon it is, it can be a flamethrower, it can be a hammer,
an axe.
If a human being wants to kill somebody, they don't have to use a gun. If they really want to kill somebody, they will find a way to do it, even if there is no guns. So that person's going to do that crime regardless of what weapon they use. If guns were the only violent weapon, then guns would be the only weapon people use in criminal cases. But they're not. You can use a baseball bat. Well, you can ban baseball bats. You can use an axe. You can use a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire. There's so many innovative little weapons out there, right? Yeah. So removing the gun portion, the problem with this is immediately what I think of is, why would we spend trillions of dollars overseas protecting whoever we're protecting over there when you could place, you know how many homeless veterans there are in this country? When you can place every trained veteran at every single school in America, every single one, and none of that shit would happen. They wouldn't. But
why isn't that happening?
Because they want us to be weak. And what do they want to do? They want to create certain situations that will lead to the banning of weapons. Yeah. I'm not saying these things are triggered or set up or whatever it is.
False flagged.
But what I'm saying is they're hyper socializing them so the masses say, get rid of guns because guns are the problem. The whole old saying, guns don't kill people, people kill people. You're right, they do. However, the gun is also killing someone. But the goal of a gun is not to kill people. The goal of the gun is to protect and hunt. I don't know what else to use it for in the military. If we ban guns, would the military doesn't get them either? No. So what are we doing over there then?
Yeah.
What would you do overseas if guns were banned? Yeah. So you're saying I served for 20 years and I can't have a gun in my house?
Right.
Why? Right.
I just don't know if people who are super idealistic about all that understand the problem that would arise even just in this state if
there
you
is
came for the guns.
If there is no security guard at the door, danger is going to come in, period. Yeah. It's like going to a zoo and removing the fences. What's going to happen?
That seems like such a point A to point B solve of the problem. Just to post
100%
vets at doors.
Why not?
I don't understand.
If they post a vet, or it doesn't even have to be a vet. If they post any person who is trained in hand-to-hand combat, trained in
there's a lot of retired
marksmanship,
good MMA guys.
All of it. Or security guards, like really trained, not mall cops, right? I'm saying if you take, and there's so many people out there that are trained to do this, they have no jobs, they're homeless, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you place one in every single school, a bully or a marksman would not even want to walk in that school because there's a threat. There is a potential danger of somebody stopping them. It's like having a guard dog. Somebody doesn't break into a house because there's a fucking dog there. Yeah. If you didn't have the dog, they may not break in your house, no, but the option is there. They're in their head like, I could if I wanted to because there's nobody stopping me. However, if you have a fucking 200-pound Rottweiler that's sitting there ready to jump at you when you walk in the door, I promise you they're not going to break into your house.
Why are there so many homeless vets who feel ignored, and why is the VA system such a disaster, and why is there just this blatant disrespect for retired service personnel?
And now that I'm retired, I can say this. So my retirement process sucked. It was bad.
You retired 5 years after you originally intended to.
Correct. Yeah, I was going to retire. So 5 years ago, 5 years ago, 16 actually, 16 or 17. 17, sorry, 2017. My business, me and my wife just started our business. It was going good. We're making some good money. I was making way more than I did when I was in the Navy. Fast forward a year, 2018, I'm like, I'm making way more than I did in the military. So what am I doing still in the military? Why don't I just get out? So I called one of my mentors of mine. His name is Brownie, 33-year Navy SEAL, Master Chief, highest rank you could possibly get. This dude is, if you're the highest ranking person that you could possibly get, highest ranked, top of the line, and you did it for 33 years and you're a Navy SEAL, dude, he's like the baddest man on the fucking planet. This dude is amazing. One of my personal mentors. Called him up and said, hey Brownie, man, like, I'm having a dilemma, man. What do I do? He's like, now imagine fast forward 10 years from now and you're having a conversation with a vet. You're a chief. You got out at 16 years in the Navy. Would you not feel stupid that you just got out instead of just give it your last 4 years? On top of that, you're just throwing away money because you're going to get your VA that you wouldn't get if you didn't retire. You're not going to get your retirement pay if you didn't. So just suck up the 4 years and do the 4 years and get out. I'm like, all right, sounds good. So that's what I ended up doing. So anyway, my retirement process wasn't very good. Nobody coached me through the VA stuff. I had somebody who works with my company now that helped me a little bit through that process. But when I say I didn't have any help, I mean my direct chain of command, my military command had no help with this, right? I had outside sources that helped me. The paperwork process was all fucked up. They actually told me that I was missing a document the day before my retirement. And then so maybe I had to retire like 2 weeks later. Is this just
because it's government?
Because it's government. So when you join the military, when you join the Navy, so I was a recruiter here. I'm a terrible recruiter, by the way, because I can't lie to people. So I'm a terrible recruiter. So when you join the military, we will line up all the documents in front of you, what you need to sign. I'll drive you to where you need to go. Yep. Don't worry about it. You don't got a car. I'll come pick you up. It'll be Sunday afternoon. Fine. Don't worry about it.
Got to get you closed.
Right? But when it comes to getting out, they're like, good luck, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care. They don't care. So
That is not
the
a good
VA
look.
process was terrible. Nobody told me about my health insurance. So we can get it shut off the day I retire. Nobody was telling me that my life insurance was good because we have this thing called SGLI. So the SGLI gets cut off immediately. Like, you don't have any life insurance anymore. It's done.
you have
I've been paying in this.
dependents.
I've been paying in this for 20 years, and all of a sudden it's gone. I didn't know this because I knew this because I had my outside sources, but not from my chain of command. Nobody talked to me about it. Nobody did any of that. And then since, nobody has followed up with me. Not a single person besides my friends. I think
Like,
my friends doing
how are you doing?
How is everything going, dude? Once you fucking retire, bro, they don't give a fuck.
You're dead to them.
They don't give a. I went to this. I even texted my buddy Brian, right, the dude that lives in Atlanta now.
Yeah.
One of probably my best friend here, right? So he used to live here. He's moved to Atlanta, asshole. But anyway,
Who moves
Trader,
to
who moves to
Atlanta?
Atlanta, right? From Texas,
Seriously,
bro.
yeah.
Anyway, but I was telling him because I was at the airport flying out to Atlanta actually to go see him, and the first time in 21 years I had to pay for my luggage, and I was like, huh? And she was like, well, you're not active duty, you're just retired. How she said it, thank you. How she said it was like, she's like, you're not active duty, you're just retired. So you're saying I did 20 years, 12 deployments, spent half my life overseas, and I just retired. You're just
That's
retired.
not even passive aggressive disrespect.
You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was getting heated at the airport, and my wife was like, "Babe, it's not worth it." I was like, "I'll pay the $100. I don't care. The money's not the problem. The problem is I haven't paid for luggage in 21 years, and you say, oh, because you're not active duty, you're just retired."
What the hell?
Bro, dude, they just don't care. Do not care. Nobody cares. So my kids went to go to the doctors. My daughter went to go to the hospital, and they're like, "Yeah, you don't have insurance anymore." Found that out the hard way. My wife went to go make an appointment. Don't have insurance anymore. So I was like, "What the fuck do I do?" So yeah, it was nuts. It was crazy. My process was absolutely terrible for the retirement. So not everybody's is like this, but the majority has. So what's interesting, you talked about your buddy with the wealth wave, Josh.
Josh. Yeah.
So my buddy Brian, he is in the financial industry. It's what he does. And I've been best friends with him for like 4 years now.
Nice.
So he's helped me like with my investments currently because my business does well now. And he's helped me with my current investments and stuff like that. And he's always asked, like, what do you do with life insurance? What do you do with your investments? What do you do with your 401ks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And I've always been like, well, I have an SGLI for the Navy. Like, I never even thought about it. But then he enlightened me about like how, hey, like that's going to stop when you retire. And it's actually extremely expensive when you retire. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Had no idea. So he hooked me up with some life insurance and investments and stuff like that, and roll my TSP over and stuff. But the whole process, he was like, dude, this is nuts that nobody's teaching people about
Where's
this.
the aftercare here?
Nobody, there is none. So my buddy Brian and I, we got together and we said, hey, dude, because my personal experience, I'm like, it was terrible. I was like, let's do some research. So I set up meetings with about 28 different Navy chiefs that retired, like with me, and asked them, hey, man, tell me about your process for your retirement. How was it? What'd you like? What didn't you like? What you wish you knew, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Every fucking one of them, except for one. I just had a call with him last week. Every one of them, except for that one, was like, it was fucking terrible. The VA process, I don't know what to do with my life insurance. I don't even have any anymore for me and my kids. I don't know what to do with my TRICARE because I don't have my DD-214 yet, and you can't enroll in new TRICAREs. You can't enroll in your new healthcare system until you have that DD-214. I don't know what
You
to do.
You can't even go apply for healthcare that you would pay for out of your back pocket.
Facts. You need DD-214.
And you didn't know that.
Didn't know that until you call and they say no, you can't do it. So all that, right? All that. So me and my buddy Brian got together and we're like, you know what? Let's help these people do this. So we created a program called Military Retirement Solutions, where now we have an 18-month process if you're going to retire in 18 months from now, start now. We go through your finances, your life insurance stuff, all the way through. We have this program called Skill Bridge in the Navy, where you intern for a real company for when you get out and retire, you get a job with them. Like you can have intern working in the back here, like if you got approved.
Yeah.
To the retirement paperwork, and then when they retire, what do you do now? DD-214, VA, your healthcare. You're rolling over your 401k to something that actually fucking builds money.
I can't believe they're letting guys exit and there's no life insurance. So you get hit by a bus on your way home after retirement and your kids are fucked for college fund.
It's a wrap.
That's totally unconscionable.
It's absolutely terrible. So I got life insurance 18 months before I retired. I got outside life insurance.
Whose job is this? Who's falling down on the job in here? Is this another Dan Crenshaw failure?
I don't. That's the thing is I don't think there is one.
Like no, this is just
because you have it until you retire, and their job is to take care of you while you're in,
until you
not having anything to do when you get out.
Yeah.
So me and my buddy Brian saw this flaw. Saw this hole in the fucking hole in the system.
Right.
And we're like, let's
How
fix
are
this.
you funding your effort with Brian? This program you're putting together with Brian.
I have money.
You're just helping people.
So yeah. Brian's licensed to do all this. I'm not. So I don't personally gain anything from this.
So what's it like trying to get the word out to everybody retiring?
Well,
hey y'all.
We started about a month and a half ago.
Okay.
And I've had 28 Zoom calls in the past month.
All with Chiefs.
All retired. Yeah, retired or retiring.
Yeah, and they've probably got a lot of guys calling them like you were calling your mentor when you were in your dilemma.
Like, hey,
in
what do I do? I don't know what
2017.
to do. 100%. So I want this to flow like a snowball effect to help as many, because you asked the question, why is there so many homeless veterans, right?
Yeah.
Because when people get out of the military, like while you're in the military, you already live paycheck to paycheck. Like you're already living paycheck to paycheck. We don't make money, a lot of money. We don't. One, we live paycheck to paycheck. You probably acquired some kids along the way, maybe an ex-wife or two, right? I'm just being facts about the military life, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then you've already acquired all that, your time in. Now you're going to get out. You've led people, hundreds of people. Now you're going to get out. You used to put your uniform on every day. You do a nice little beautiful shave. You got your medals over here, your ribbons, do what you need to do. And now all of a sudden that just stops. No one works for you. You tell no one what to do. You see your kids every third weekend. You owe your ex-wife half of your fucking retirement money. You are making $1,200 a month after alimony and fucking child support. And you're like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
No idea what to do.
That bottle starts looking better and better.
And that's the problem. And that's why drugs, suicide rate, 22 veterans a day kill themselves.
Yeah.
22
and that number, for all of the exposure it's gotten through, the 22 push-up challenge,
still hasn't helped.
It's not helping.
Hasn't helped.
I would say, listening to this is news to me. I did not know this. This is highly disturbing. Yeah. So integrating
I didn't know until I went through
into
it.
Life.
I've been in for 20 years. I didn't know this is how it was until I did it.
So if you told me, if you didn't even include any of the insurance stuff, all of the other stuff that you just mentioned, the camaraderie, the purpose every day, you are living a very disciplined life, you're doing all of these right, and then it's over. That in and of itself could send guys off the deep end.
1,000%.
Then you compound that times 10 with life insurance, health insurance.
Money. Just money in general.
It seems almost insurmountable for some guys.
When you're in the military, you don't literally learn financial literacy. Like, what do you do with your money? Where does it go? What do you actually spend your money on? How can I save my money for retirement? In boot camp, they push on you SGLI, which is life insurance, and then this thing called the TSP, Thrift Savings Plan. They push it on you in boot camp. Everybody and their mother signs up, and then you forget about it. So at the end of your 20 years, you have 120 grand in your bank account.
So for you,
that's it.
And I want to circle back to this situation because this is it's just unbelievable.
Oh, bro, yeah, you understand it.
Why aren't there news? Yeah. Why aren't there news stories about this?
Because there's Chris Rock getting slapped because that's way more important, or there's Taylor Swift's concert that she put on, or Sam Smith, or some
what they were bringing on stage at the CMAs or whatever. Not solving actual problems. So where in your entrepreneurial journey you meet your wife, you both are obvious, we're gonna start this is it Curves and Combat Boots? Curves and Combat Boots, great name. Did you guys come up with that together? It's very cool. I like the alliteration. Did you at that point identify we've got to get with a good tax strategist, we got to get with a good financial
I learned all
planner?
that the hard way.
Okay.
So I mean, again, I'm still new to entrepreneur world. Like I've only been an entrepreneur for 7, 8, 9 years now. I'm still new. I'm not even in the 10-year group yet. Then there's the 20-year, the 30, the 40. I'm fucking way the fuck down here. Most brands fail after the first 3 to 5 years.
Right.
Now that we're on year 6, 7, so I think we're good now. But like, in the very beginning, I was extremely new. I made so many mistakes. I've wasted money. I've had terrible relationships with people because I was learning the business.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know,
I just
but
don't know.
you also only know what you do know.
Exactly.
You
And then you
know?
learn from your mistakes and then
Right.
you move on. So I've wasted money. I've worked with people in the past that wouldn't work with me anymore, but it's like that was also 6 years ago. So like now I'm a different person. It's a different company. It's a different brand. So like I learned all of it, taxes, all that stuff. I'm also starting a business with different podcasts.
Good. Awesome.
But it's called Ameripreneur, the American Entrepreneur. Anyway, but where it's like I had to learn all that from scratch. Because again, it was just me and my wife doing this. We started this business in the bedroom of my daughter, which was 11 feet by 12 feet. So what is that, 140 square feet, right? So 140 square foot bedroom. We started off, I was deployed and I was scaling the business on social media, emails, et cetera, et cetera. My wife was in the back end doing all the customer service, all the order fulfillment, all the...
She's putting leggings in packages
Oh yeah,
and
I
mailing
can show you
them.
videos of like her doing printing, pull, package, and then doing a handwritten note to every single customer.
Wow.
And then driving to the USPS into the post office and dropping them in the mailbox. I have all videos of all of it. She was doing all of that herself, and then I was doing the business side myself. I would come home, and then me and her would just rock it together. That's how we did it. Until we realized we're getting bigger than just me and you.
Right.
We need to work on the business instead of in the business. And then we started hiring people.
You have to work in it though until you get to that
Once
point.
that-
There's just not
for
the
an
financial.
entrepreneur think that they can start a business and not spend every fucking minute of your day working on that business and to think that you're just going to have some free time to go play golf and do this kind of stuff. No, you have to work in the business. You need to know every level, every step of that business, down to the granular numbers of every aspect of that business. From the most minuscule shit like changing out the soap dispenser at the warehouse to the highest level stuff, paying invoices and fucking executing and hiring and firing people. Right?
Yeah, and developing
You
new
need to learn
strategies.
everything in between if you're going to lead the people on your team, right?
Yes.
You have to do it. You can't just say, I want to start this business. You do this, you do that, you do this. No, I'm going to do it all first. Then I need to find somebody better than me to do that. Because if you're a business owner and you're the smartest man in the room, you're in the wrong fucking room, right? So
Yeah.
I surround myself with people that are better at so if I did customer service, I'm going to find a better person to do customer service. If I did website design, I'm going to find a better person to do website design. If I did inventory management, I'm going to find a better person to do inventory management. So it's like, I'm not the best person in my company. I just know how to manage it all. I know how to lead the people that do the job. They're better at it than I am.
How do you find those people? Through personal networking?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Have you had some real growing there too, like bringing people on? Like I explained,
yeah.
like I see potential, but there's all these red flags. I'm like, fuck that, we can work with this.
Yeah, like we've had some bad ones. We've had some bad employees, and not bad employees. They just didn't work out for the brand. Not bad people, but
they just didn't have the bandwidth to fulfill the role you put.
Yeah,
them in.
and like so I've had to hire and fire some people and stuff, and but the thing is like we also found some phenomenal people, and we headhunt every single one of them, which is interesting. So my president of operations now, she's like my executive assistant actually. She's one of my best friend's wife. And an interesting story how we all met though. So I went to boot camp with this guy named Phil, right? So we went to boot camp together. School together, and then he deployed one way, I deployed another way. And then over the years, we just continuously met back up. We were both drill instructors together, both in Virginia together, and now we're both here together. Like we went our entire career for 20 years, we were all together, right? So we were in Virginia one day, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to meet my wife." And I'm like, "Oh, awesome, great, let's go out to dinner." And then I was like, "I have you meet my wife." And I go to my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna have dinner with my buddy Phil. He's in town. We're going to dinner with his wife." And she's like, "I do not fucking want to meet this bitch. Like, I don't want to meet another girl that wants to come work for us." And I'm like, so me and my wife got a fight over it. Like, she's like, "I don't want to go to dinner and meet someone else." And I'm just like, I'm making my wife sound bad. She's not. She's just like,
I've met her. She's great.
most people are like, "Oh, I'd like to come work for you. I know a friend that my wife could work for you," and they don't work out very well, right? Yeah. We try them out, and then so she's like, "I don't want to meet another girl that just wants to go out to dinner," and they become best friends. And then fast forward, I think 2 days, we're moving our warehouse from our spare bedroom up in our second floor to our actual warehouse for the first time, and his wife just shows up and is like, "Yeah, I'm just here to help move you guys." I'm like, "That's rare. You don't work for me." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm just here to help. I know you guys are moving." She helped us move in. 2 days later, like, "You want a job?" She's like, "Yeah." And she's been with us ever since.
What would what would 2023 Elijah tell startup entrepreneur Curves and Combat Boots right when you started that business? Or what would you tell yourself when you started Military Muscle? Is there some nugget that you've figured out? Is it the core values stuff?
Instill core values in your brand.
Okay.
Again, when I started Curves, we didn't have any core values. Now we do. The basis of all of our core values, I have them printed on our warehouse. Yep. And employees have to read it every day, right?
You hire and fire by them.
So most of them, I mean, you have like take ownership and be loyal and stuff like that. But the bottom line is be a good person. If you're not a good person, then you don't belong in this brand.
Don't be a piece of shit.
Don't be a piece of shit. Be a good person. That's it. Be a good human being. That's all you need to be.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's like the basis of all the core values. But yeah, we didn't have those. But I would say just instill core values in the brand, and it's okay to fail because you're going to fail. If you think you're going to be a rock star at every fucking move you make, then you're not a business person. I have failed so many times in the past 7 years, but I've also succeeded in many different areas. But I've also failed in many areas. And you move on. You fail, you learn, you move on. The problem with a lot of people is when they fail, they don't learn shit from it and they don't move on from it. And they're stuck in their failures. And those are the people that are on social media like, oh, poor me. Like, no, you failed. That's fine. It's okay to fucking fail. It is okay to fail. It is. People don't think it is. It's okay to fail. As long as you learn from it and move on.
I don't think you're trying hard enough if you're not failing pretty
That's
often.
what I don't understand. That there's this one coach. I don't even know. I think I saw a YouTube short. I watch YouTube shorts more than that's the social media I have. But what did he say? He said like successful people will try and try and try. No, fail and fail and fail until they. What did he say?
I feel like I've seen that one.
Where he's like a successful person will. Oh, I'm sorry. A successful person will do something so amazing, but then think they weren't good enough at it. I'll have to find the quote and send it to you. But then another person will do the bare minimum and wonder why they're not successful.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going? I don't know the direct
No,
quote.
I'm picking it up.
But it's crazy to think that like people think they can't fail. You absolutely can fail, and you will fail 1,000 times. You will fail. But as long as that 999 times you will fail, that 1,000th time, that's the winner.
Well, yeah, and I think that if you can kind of shift your mindset around and see failures as just a step forward.
Yeah.
Okay, we tried it. Now we know that doesn't work. Now we know that does. I had Justin Forsett on. He played in the NFL for 10 years, I believe. Great story of just not accepting. No, my career's not over. No, my career. No,
yeah. It's like Brett Favre.
Yeah,
that dude's like 80. And
yeah,
still plays.
Yeah, and shoot, I think the name of his podcast is like Seeking Failure or something like that. I mean, it's just that's the mindset there of. You can't scare me off with a failure. I mean, I was actually trying to fail, so fuck off. I'm going to try again.
Yep.
What about the whole entrepreneuring thing with your significant other? Has that presented some unique challenges?
Oh, 100%. So like you're married?
Engaged,
right?
Yeah.
So you're with your spouse, you're taking a shower. The last thing you're going to do is talk business.
Right.
Well, when you work with your wife, showers become like little C-suite meetings, right?
Yeah.
Like we're having a meeting in the shower.
C-suite meetings.
And I'm like, honey, like we shouldn't be doing it. But it turns into meetings. It does. Dinners turn into meetings. Date nights turn into meetings, and or innovations or design or talk or expansion or whatever it is, but it's about the business. But I think it's because we're still new to the business world. We're going on this is our 6th year in business. So like since we're going on 6 years, we're still new to this. It's not self-sustaining yet. I mean, it pretty much is, but we still need to continue to grow it. So if we got complacent now and backed off and said, hey, we're only going to work this 9 to 5, then it's going to fail because somebody else is out there growing their business, but not working 9 to 5. They're working fucking 9 to 9. Yeah. They're working 24 hours a day trying to make this baby grow while I'm getting complacent. They're going to fucking pass me. Right. So we have to get on it. So we both recognize that. But there is 100% times when we're like, hey, turn the phones off. Don't fucking talk work. And half the time, my wife's always like, one more thing. I just have one more thing to say.
Ideas.
And then she'll say, and I'll be the same way. They're like, I know we weren't supposed to talk work at this. We've been a date night, 6 or 7 margaritas in, or I'm an old fashioned guy, but anyway.
Those when the best ideas are flowing. Anyways,
man, I have my hot tub in my backyard. Right, we have a hot tub, and we call it the think tank. I mean, my wife will grab a bottle of wine, 2-3 bottles of wine, some champagne, maybe some mimosas, at like 11 o'clock at night. We'll hop in the hot tub and just start talking.
Yeah.
And half the time we're like, that was a fucking good idea. So we'll like grab our phone and text it to each other to make sure you don't forget it.
Totally.
And that's where we come up with
do the
a lot of
audio
our ideas.
notes. Yeah. Try the audio notes. Just
but that's
see
where we come up with
how-
most of our ideas. It's just like it's brainstorming in our think tank, you know. And but having a business with your spouse can make or break your relationship. I 100% see how people cannot work with their spouse. Because if your spouse is argumentative or your spouse is very dominant and alpha and you are too, that's not going to work, because now it depends on who the boss is, but you're telling them what to do. In a sense, when you're at work, you work together, yeah, but you also have roles in the brand. You're going to tell them what to do, and if they can either fight you back, or they can be like, you know, because they're your spouse, or they can be like, you know, that makes sense. I'm going to do that.
That's that teamwork thing again, though, right? Like,
It's also a
okay,
respect thing.
Yes. Okay, honey, actually, you're better at that than me. If you're telling me I should do this, which is kind of your department, I'm going to take care
There's
of
been
it.
a lot of jobs I've been fired at in my own company because I'm not good at it. So yeah, in the beginning, like I would do some customer service sometimes. I'd be like, babe, like we're behind on emails. So I'd go in there and start fucking answering emails. And then she would look at him and be like, honey, you can't say that.
That's
I was like,
not
why
the
not?
tone. Yeah.
And she's just like, just stop. So I can't do customer service anymore. And I accept that. I got it.
Hey, I think maybe you did that on purpose.
No, I mean, but she's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, all right, sounds good. So, but like we absolutely offset each other. What she is phenomenal at, I am not good at all. And what I am good at, she's not good at all. And it's like, we know both each other's jobs and we can do them, but she's better at than I am better at this side than she is. And we just literally complement each other so well that it just makes the perfect mixture. And it's been absolutely awesome. Like absolutely awesome.
That's great.
Because even when we're home, we're still working, but also like we know when to shut it off.
Sure.
You have to know when to shut it off. If you don't know when to shut it off, it can become a huge fucking problem.
Yeah, it burns everything out.
Because nothing's romantic anymore because it's all business.
Right.
And your business becomes, your personal life becomes your business relationship, and your relationship is gone.
In that athleisure space is so competitive.
Yeah.
How do you keep the edge? Are you working those military angles?
We have certain niches that we do.
Yeah.
Because there's some phenomenal brands out there that we look up to that are phenomenal, like Elf Lead and Buff Bunny and all these crazy companies, Petula and all them. That they're amazing companies, but we just have a different niche. And that's why we've been around for so long, is because of the niche that we have and the community we bring. We don't just post on social media and have millions of followers. We don't even have millions of followers. However, we have a community of people that will die hard. We had people that send us videos that they met their best friend through our company. They've been best friends for years because of our brand. Wow. They met at a photo shoot and then that's it. And they become best friends ever since. And that's phenomenal. That's what we love, those success stories. But we have certain niches. Like we have a pair of leggings that you can carry a weapon in. It's called a concealed carry legging.
Legit.
And not only we took that design and then we improved on it, and you can carry a weapon in them. We also made them glow in the dark. So if you're running at night, you're out at night, and headlights hit you, you're glowing and you have a gun on you, like
or an expandable baton or something.
something. Yeah. There's pockets for all that, right? So we have those kind of things, camo stuff, and like most of the time we're just there's no secret anymore. Yeah. There's really not. Everybody has the same shit.
Yeah.
Slightly different stitch here, slightly different fit here. Other than that, it's all the same shit. Like I would never talk shit about another brand because it's all the same stuff. I can literally read the tag of what this is made out of, and I can make the same shit if I want to.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So there's no secret. Same thing with supplements. There's no secret anymore. It's like you can look on the back of the bottle, and it has to say what's in it. Has to be what's in it. I can take that and then take it to a manufacturer and have the exact same thing made. There's no secret anymore. People buy from a brand, and they want to be a part of a brand, not just because of the amazing product. All right. The product is not the last thing, but it's not the most important thing when it comes to somebody making a purchase, somebody becoming a customer. It's not the most important thing at all.
The supplement space is also very competitive.
Very competitive.
And it's full of, like you said, there are some brands that are huge that you do read their ingredients and you're like, that's probably a great community, but I'm not putting that in myself. Has that been figuring out the mixes and the chemistry of all of that? That seems very complex. Was that?
Oh, it is complex. Yeah, I have really, really good business partners when it comes to the supplement space, and I had a supplement company prior to the one I'm in now, and we thought of it in our think tank in our hot tub in the backyard. And we put a ton of money into it in 2021 and then 2022. Built the brand up a little bit, and then built the brand down a little bit, and built the brand up a little bit, and then it got acquired by a new supplement company that I'm part of now. But it's a very, very competitive space. You have to have a niche. In our current one now, we have our own niche. We're an all natural supplement company. There's no sucralose, there's no additives, there's none of that stuff. So that's the niche.
Yeah, that seems like a business that you would definitely need some know-how in.
Oh yeah. My
like,
business partners
start this.
Yeah, my business partners are extremely well versed with that space. Yeah.
You put I think a story on Instagram maybe a month or so ago saying that people had reached out to you saying that you should coach them. Didn't you? Didn't you put up something like that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
so I've had some people
talk a little bit just about that space, because that whole guru, life coach, business coach thing is just. It's a very interesting grid.
I've had a few people reach out and they said, "Hey man, do you do coaching?" And I always reply with like, "What type of coaching?" I did personal training back in the day, but I'm not going to do that anymore. That takes up way too much time. And they're like, "No, like life coaching," and I never even fucking thought of it. But in like a month span, I had like 25, 30 people reach out and be like, "I would love for you to be my coach." And then in my head, I'm like, "I'm not a life coach, man. Like I've made so many fucking mistakes. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life." I'm down to give advice and, coach people up. But I would put a little feeler out there like, hey, what do you guys think? Should I, is coaching a thing? I don't know. I'm still weary about it. I think I would like to coach people eventually. I just don't think I'm there yet. Well, I personally don't believe I'm at the space in my life where, I don't know, I can be telling people how to live their life. I mean, I'm successful. I made money and married kids, but to me, I'm not at the level where I'm like, okay, I can pause and tell you guys how to get where I am. I don't know. Maybe I just don't think I'm that guy. Maybe I am. Maybe they want to learn and maybe they want to do that. I just don't think like I'm ready for that.
Yeah, Rob coaches now. Rob Bailey has a coaching program. That's a big thing for a lot of these guys. Once they've built up a brand, then they kind of monetize
his brand's been around
that.
for 15
for
years
sure,
now.
For sure. One thing to keep in mind, though, that you do have in your back pocket is the fact that you coached all the time in your previous career. And so whenever you do feel like you're ready for it, I think, and you coach every day now, right? Your employees, you coach them all. You're probably doing a lot of coaching to your business partners too. Like, I think if we tried it this way, and they're probably like, that's a good point, bro.
Yeah, but when someone says, be my life coach and like guide me through life, I'm like, I don't know your life. And what do you want? What are your goals and all that? And like, I don't know. I know my experiences and I can give you advice on what I did. I can't tell you what to do with yours. Like one of my friends said, hey, do you recommend me like, they called me up and said, hey, do you recommend me doing this job versus this job in the Navy? And one of them was going to be a drill instructor. And I did that. That fucking job sucks. Like, so again, I'm a terrible recruiter. I can't lie. So I'm like, that job sucks. It's hard. And he was just like, really? What do you mean? I was like, dude, you're up at 2:30 and you go to bed at fucking 11:30. You have no time for your relationship. Like you're there all day, every day. Like 7 days a week. There's no weekends. There's no holidays.
Oof, sounds grueling.
3 years straight. And he's just like, oh, that sounds terrible. I'm like, it is.
It sounds like an NFL head coach's
and then
life.
And then he goes, would you recommend doing it? I go, yeah. And he's just like,
really?
Well, I do because there's something that comes with, like you said, coaching or mentoring. Each division has 88 kids, right? Seeing 88 knuckleheads come in and leaving like 88 men or women, that's phenomenal. Like no discipline, no structure, no bearing, no motivation, no nothing. And then when they come in, and then 8 weeks later, they're leaving and they're fucking standing tall. Their parents don't recognize them because they're fucking locked on. They're ready to go conquer the world. That is an amazing transformation to witness that. I fucking love that. I love that shit.
Did that help you stay on track too? Were there days and you're like, and that you're responsible to those?
Yes.
And that kind of, you've got this different layer of accountability. Kind of like I don't have kids yet, but like I must imagine it must be like to become a new father. You've got this, it's about, again, it's not about you anymore. It's about way more than you. So if you want to fuck off, you're like, I got this new layer of accountability.
No, absolutely. And I think like there made me really realize and buckle down on how to multitask, because you're dealing with, when you're a drill instructor, you're everyone's. You wear so many hats. You're a marriage counselor for that recruit that you have that's married and having a hard time at home with their spouse because they're in boot camp and never been apart before. You're a marriage counselor. You're a financial counselor because they're like, oh my God, what should I do with my money? Yada, yada. Then you're a motivator. Then you're a fitness coach because I'm trying to get better at my push-ups and steps. What I do. So you're wearing all of these hats. You're also mom and dad. Like I didn't have a dad growing up my whole life. You're the closest thing to becoming a dad of my. I'm like, oh my God, really? Like. That's the kind of people that go through boot camp, and like you are all those people to these. You are all those people to those people. You're all of them. You're their dad. You're their financial advisor. You're the marriage counselor. You're all of that. And it's at first you're like, wow, like hold on,
too much.
Hold on a minute here, like
Yeah.
Then you realize that okay, well I'm in the position where I can give advice and they're going to listen, and again being coachable. Like if they're coming to with asking questions, they're coachable. Yeah.
Is that is the way that enriches your life and adds value to your life something that you'd trade? Would you go back if you could?
No, I would absolutely do it.
If you were 18 again, you would do what you did again.
Yeah.
You'd join up, and you would.
Yep.
You'd follow the same path. Obviously, if you had the same brain you had now, you might avoid a few mistakes here and there, and have a few more points on the board, maybe. But also, that's life.
If I could go back, I wouldn't go back to 2018 or when I was 18. I wouldn't go back to any of those years. I would go back to 2020, before all this bullshit happens, and I would be like, "Hey, this is about to happen, so start preparing now."
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
I'll
tell myself how the world is going to be now financially.
Appreciate you, man.
He has a 2-hour time limit.
Well, yeah, he's got to go to a meeting. Austin just took over
right,
until we wrap up. I think
right.
we're about done. But
yeah,
that's an interesting. That's once you get a little older, and I got a few years on you, you start looking back at maybe some of the bad things that have happened or the times in your life that were a real struggle, but you actually value the hell out of them because you're like, man, I wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be who I am.
Yeah, the scars and the ink.
I call it calluses.
It's what makes you who you are.
Yeah, I got this the fucking week after I retired.
It's very cool. Is that something they kind of frown upon?
Absolutely not. You cannot have anything on your hand. You can't have anything from here down unless it's waved.
What you got going there? It's pretty rad.
Well, it's not done yet.
You got a lion there.
It's not done yet. So I got the eagle here, the bald eagle.
That's awesome.
So that eagle's there.
Very cool.
I have the lion there. So pretty much he controls the prairies. He controls the skies. Then I have the wolf here, and the lone wolf controls the forest. And then I'm going to get my shark here that controls the seas.
Legit.
So pretty much the baddest dude on the land, the baddest dude in the forest, the baddest dude in the skies, the baddest dude there.
I dig it. Yeah, I'm lining up my full sleeve too. I'm going to bring them down onto the fingers and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
What's the hand top? What's that? I've got up the inside and some on my
this
rib.
shit hurts so
was the hand
bad.
Yeah, was it?
So the guy I go to actually numbs you. And he won't tattoo you unless he numbs you.
Where's he?
He's over here in Richardson. He's
okay, great.
5 minutes from here.
I got to get his number.
I'll send you. I'll DM you his social media.
Profile?
You book
Sweet.
through his profile.
Okay, great.
But yeah, so like he did, and he's phenomenal. He's not done yet. He still has to add all the white in the mane.
He rendered all that up for you. Sketched it all up.
I have a
for
video
you?
after the pod. I'll show you this.
Sweet.
He shows you a video on how he does it. He does it there, right there with you.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so he still has to do all the white in the mane, white in the eagle head, white in all the wings. So it's not gonna be as black. White in all the lightning, put lightning all throughout here, do all this, and put white in all this kind of crap. Yeah,
that was on your bucket list for as soon as you retired.
Immediately, I knew what I wanted for 2 years now.
Yeah,
and I was like, retirement, set a date, let's go. Yeah,
I know. When I met you at Christmas, you were like, let's do a podcast, but I got to wait till I get my paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the DD-214 is, so when you retire, you get this thing called DD-214. My wife has one, not retired, when you get out of the services. My wife even has her DD-214 because when she was got it there.
Do you frame that bad boy?
No.
No?
No. My whole career, like I got a certificate saying thank you for your service from Trump. Fucking phenomenal. I love
That's
it.
cool.
Oh, I fucking love
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is interesting little plug in here about Biden.
Lock him up.
So
throw away the key.
So when you go to retire from the Navy, right, you can request any past president or any president request a paper or a certificate saying thank you for your service, and it's hand signed. It's not like some stamp, right? You can request it saying thank you for your service, and they all do it except for one. Biden doesn't even allow you to request a certificate from him.
What's the deal with that?
Can't
hold a pen? Or
I have no idea.
Got the
Why? Like,
shakes?
you see what I mean? Like, I can request fucking Clinton or Bush or fucking anyone.
Well, he can't walk
but
up.
But this guy, I can't. The current president, I can't have signed. I currently his fucking employee.
The guy can't even walk upstairs.
And I can't get him to sign. Are you serious?
Wow, that's unbelievable.
You see what I mean? It's like, but you care about the American people, but a veteran who's
disrespect.
retiring after fucking 20 years, and I can't. let me put this straight though. I didn't want a certificate from him. I didn't.
Right.
But his name wasn't even on the drop down for that you
That's
request.
insane.
Yeah. I got Bush and I got Trump. Yeah.
That's awesome. We got to work on this exit stuff, on this aftercare.
Yep.
I'd love to help you out however I can with that.
Yep.
As you start to develop it more, I'd love to do whatever I can.
We're developing a website now. We're writing a book about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So the book is called How Money Works, but we're doing a How Money Works for the military.
Is this giving back, serving thing? You know, you're in Uganda, you got downtime on the weekends, you're building huts for people, you're helping your fellow exiting servicemen. Is that just something that it just came from being in the...
It just feels good.
Feels good.
Feels good. It feels right.
Yeah.
So like I said, I've made a bunch of money over the years, but I don't feel like I personally helped. Now I did as a drill instructor and I changed people's lives, et cetera, et cetera. That's great now. But I don't feel like I personally helped as much as I can. I think I can do more. And this is how I do more.
I sure think it'll have a lasting effect.
Yeah, not just people, I want to help families.
I mean, we got to get that 22 number down. That number's been a public push for 10 to 15 years now.
Yep.
And that it's still 22 a day is just... That's not acceptable.
I think it's going to start going up.
You know, the last thing we'll touch on, you see all this research kind of resurfacing about the way psychedelics can help with PTSD and with depression and things like that. MDMA mostly and psilocybin. Do you have guys reach out to you? They're like, man, I'm really struggling mentally. Or like maybe they really don't have the support system of businesses, coworkers, business partners, and a family like you did when you exited, which, you know, you didn't trip and fall into that. You took action and set all that up for yourself, and that takes hard work. But maybe they exit and they have no purpose and they have no camaraderie and they got nothing to do every day. Is that of concern to you as well? Helping some of those guys?
100%. So like they don't reach out to me personally, and the ones that do, they just know me and they're like, hey man, I'm looking for a job. Can you hook me up with this and this and this? Sure. And I do. But there's this foundation called the FitOps Foundation. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes.
So the FitOps Foundation, it's rehabilitation through fitness. What they do is they take these struggling veterans, homeless veterans, drug addictions, alcoholics, whoever it is, that lost their way in life because they get out of the military, they don't have the camaraderie anymore, they don't have the team anymore, they don't have the support system anymore, they just don't know what to do. So they take this group, however they find them, I don't know. But they take this group of people and they fly them to a camp called the FitOps camp. It was in Georgia before. I don't know where it is now. But John Cena built this whole thing. He's the main funder. He put in a few $1 million to build this thing. But they send them to a camp and they have coaches there that wake them up at 6 o'clock. Let's go for a run, like old military style, to make them feel like I'm part of something again, right? But during the 6 weeks, I think 4 weeks that they're there, they will train them on fitness. They'll train them on nutrition. Wake up, they go for runs. They do workouts together. They do all this kind of crazy, eat together, cook together, all that stuff like old Navy military stuff that they miss. They have counselors there if they need to talk, if they're struggling through PTSD. They got, I don't know who they have to help, but they have people helping there for drug addictions and stuff. Awesome. When I went there to one of the camps and I was like, this is unbelievable because people are crying. It's nuts. John Cena's giving people hugs. It was amazing. And like, there's people there that are been off of fucking heroin for 3 days and they're fucking just tweaking and shit. But this whole foundation is meant for that. And when they leave, they don't just like, oh, thanks for that and get the fuck out of here. It's they leave with a training certification, with a nutrition certification, and a job. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like that is awesome. Like
that's
that
integration
is
right
awesome.
there.
Now people say like, you know, what if they don't want to do fitness? Everybody in the military ever has done some sort of fitness. You have to 3 times a week. Yeah. So if that's their option, they're going to take that option.
Sure.
Because it's something recognizable. They're in that little camaraderie system. And now when you leave, you have a support group and a job. It's phenomenal.
When you talk about...
We donate to FitOps.
Good for you. Yeah. That's awesome. that sounds amazing. Yeah. And it sounds like something that maybe, obviously, you'll probably, as you start helping guys with their exit plan, if they are struggling on the mental side of things...
Send them over there.
There you go. Yep. You got a way to help. What's a day in the life of Elijah Maine look like? When are you up? When do you work out? When do you eat? And is this an intentional thing on your part, trying to keep some regimen in your life?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It changes day to day based on, I have an 18-month-old at the house, and me and my wife will trade off. Like she does one night, I do the next. You know, if he wakes up, usually he sleeps like a rock. Like he's 9-10 hours. He's phenomenal. He's the best little man ever. But like most of the time we'll go down at 8 or 9 and wake up at 8 or 9, so it's really nice. But most of the time I'll probably wake up around 6:30. I'm not a super early riser. I also go to bed around 12, 1. So it's not like my whole day is just shifted to the right instead of like, I could go to bed at 9 and wake up at 3.
Yeah.
You know, but no. So yeah. So anyway, so I'll wake up.
Those think tank brainstorming sessions.
I'd miss them all.
Yeah.
It's for early morning. Nobody does that,
no,
right?
Man.
So yeah, so I'll wake up 6:30, and I'll literally wake up. I'll go try to get ready. I'll feed my dogs. I got 4 dogs. I'll feed my dogs, and then I'll get. If my wife's getting ready for work, then we have a retail store over in Waters Creek called Curves and Combat Boots, but it's over Waters Creek.
That's awesome.
So she'll work the store, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She'll work the store, and then we have employees to work at the other days. But if she's getting ready for work, then I'll get Jackson's my youngest. I'll get Jackson's bottles ready. I'll get his bottles ready for when he wakes up, and then I'll feed the dogs, let the dogs out, and then go to work. And then right around 4 o'clock, I go to the gym, and then after the gym, when I'm legally about to leave here and go to the gym. But after that, I'll go to the gym, and then my wife will pick up Jackson on the way home from work, 4:30, and then we meet at home.
That's awesome.
Every night we go for a bike ride, every single night. As soon as we get out of the car, Jackson goes in the swing. We'll push him on the swing for about 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then we go for a family bike ride every single night. And then there's horses, guys that ride horses down our road. I love where we live. There's horses down our road. And our neighbor has 18 acres I was telling you about. Has 18 acres with longhorns and cows, and it's amazing. So my son will ride up, we'll talk to the cows and stuff like that every single night. And then, then it's bedtime from there. He has his own little routine. And
is Texas what you hoped it would be when you guys decided to move here and make your after retirement life here? Yeah,
when so again, my best friend Brian, he lived here when I was looking at moving here, and we met at a fucking bar over in when we were building our house at a hotel we were staying at. He was doing a speaking event there, and he does the financial speak events, and he was speaking at the hotel I was staying at. So then we met that way at the bar and clicked ever since. And I fucking moved here, get everything great, awesome. I retire, and he's like, "Oh, I moved to Atlanta." I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Now you got to go to Georgia to have bourbon nights.
Yeah, right. My bourbon bar is pretty massive.
Yeah, but, it's a thing of it's a thing of legend. Yeah, it sounds awesome.
A pretty nice bourbon bar. But yeah, now I just work, family, golf. That's pretty much what.
That's awesome.
Workout.
Man. Yeah. When people who are watching this or listening to this want to reach out to you or want to bother you, see if you want to do a little coaching, what's the best way to hit you up?
My email is elijah@curvesandcombatboots.com. And then my Instagram is ElijahMaine1, I believe it is.
Chief Maine.
No.
Is it not?
That's my title.
It is.
That's my actual name is ElijahMaine1.
And the store in Waters Creek, what's it called?
Curves and Combat Boots.
Curves and Combat Boots.
Right next to Victoria's Secret.
Awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate you.
Appreciate having me, man.
Absolutely. You're a star. Thank you, man.
Thanks, dude.
Absolutely. That was awesome. Thank you, Elijah, for your time. That was great. I can't wait to have your wife on the podcast, talk about things from her side. Hopefully your stories match up. I'm just kidding. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I really love doing the podcasts. I hope you enjoy them as well. If you know somebody or if you want to sit down with me at the table of truth, chop it up on the JESS MARSHALL podcast, reach out, connect me, shoot me your info on Instagram at Jess from the Northwest. JESS MARSHALL podcast is it's all about talking to people about living a DIY, passionate, purposeful, fearless life. I hope you're doing that out there. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next time. Hey, what's up? Thanks for checking out my videos here on the JESS MARSHALL YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe for sure. Hit that bell. Press that button to watch the next video. If you got a question you have about any of the topics I bring up in the videos, drop a question below, and we'll be sure to get an answer back to you ASAP. See you on the next one.